What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Resident Darrell. And before we get into the meat of the show, I've got something very special for you guys. This is the great debate, something we've always wanted, a back and forth between Jimmy Ryan and the leader of the Xbox Nation, Phil Spencer. This is a Loot Bros exclusive. That's right. You cannot get this anywhere else. With everything that's been going on lately, all the back and forth over, was it a good showcase? Was it a bad showcase? Did they show enough? Should they have shown more? Should they have beat a dog and kicked a dead horse? Or should they have just been conservative, not said anything at all? And then, of course, coming off the heels of the infamous Phil Spencer interview, we've got something very special and very exclusive for the Loot Bros listeners. So what I'm going to do before we get into the show is I'm going to play that for you right here. 3 minutes of everything we've wanted from these two gentlemen.
It is the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan.
One of the things that I enjoy most, PlayStation has always been cool.
I was going to ask them, what do you think makes the PS5 cool? I guess is the word used.
It is, first of all, the games, and you have to come back to that.
Very special guest. You see him in the middle. If you're watching or if you're listening, it's the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, joined today. Phil, we'll start with you. What up, homie? How are you?
People don't have to care about this, but I'll talk about it. We have a different vision. You know, Paris talked about this. It's play the games you want with the people you want anywhere you want. We want Xbox to be something that people who buy our console can feel like they're a member of. Obviously, who are playing on PC, who are playing on cloud, that they feel like they're full members of our ecosystem. Game Pass players can play on many different devices, and we remain fully committed to that. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter is that when you're third place in the console marketplace and the top two players are as strong as they are and have, in certain cases, very, very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that will that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team. That's on us, not on anybody else.
Jim Ryan.
That's all I'm going to say on that.
Phil Spencer.
Our vision is that everybody who's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and they're a first-class citizen. They've invested a ton in our platform. But we are not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true.
Well, I'd be interested to know your answer to this because I suspect everyone has a different answer, but somebody who's been at PlayStation for 27 years, or I think that's right. In your mind, what is it? What is PlayStation? I mean, what do you think it represents? What makes it different? How would you describe it to someone?
You know, I always bring us back to three things, and obviously the most important is the games.
Phil Spencer.
This idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think doesn't really lay into the reality of most people, like 90% of the people.
Jim Ryan.
That's all I'm going to say on that.
Phil Spencer.
There's a lot of Twitter firing of Phil right now, which is fine. I'm way overpaid for the role I have anyway. So like, I'm kind of at a low point right now in terms of my delivery. You might try to get me on positive. I'm not in positive mode this week, so I'll apologize for staying in kind of cranky mode. At some point, I will have enough knocks against me that it's somebody else here.
And you have to come back to the games. The most important is the games. Please change your inefficient business.
I feel the minutes count down on the clock again. Feel like I'm playing in a game that I can never win. Time is running out, I know I gotta make a choice. So many whispers in my ear that I can't hear my voice. Tell me, will it end the situation that I'm in? Or am I bound to sit alone, drowning in my sins? Get right or get left, what will it be? Time is running out, the blood is flowing down the streets. People need to know we're living in a war zone. In the streets with the truth, tell them that it's on.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros podcast. I'm your host, Resident Darrell, and tonight I have a big, hot, happening group of haters. I've got the bearded nerd back from the dead. What's up, brother?
Well, I'm not back from the dead. People have passed away. That is true.
And you know what? That joke actually isn't that funny because people have passed away on your end and Kali's end. So you guys
no kidding.
You guys are competing over who can have the most tragedy in your life at one time.
The past 3 weeks have been fun.
So, well, glad to have you back, even though you're still playing for the wrong team. All right, we have our very special guest. Some would say the expert in the field of PlayStation collecting. It is Will from the PlayStation Collectors Podcast. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Wow, you're overselling it there, I would say. But
look, when I'm thinking about my little Rolodex of podcast, people to pull from, you like all them P's, right? I'm thinking the number one trophy hunter in the world, in my opinion, is CJ, the Affectatious Donk. Then when I think about the number one collector, all right, I got to default to Will. And the reason why it can't be Figsy is because you can't trust the Australians. You know what I'm saying? Like I've already, it's like, so CJ is the Australian for the trophy hunting.
From the penal colony.
So you can't have more than one Australian in your Rolodex at one time. So you got to throw one out. So sorry, Figsy, you lose on this one, brother.
Fun fact about Australia: the toilets and the discs inside consoles spin backwards. So I'll drop that one on anytime.
That's a good one.
But no, I prefer the title enthusiastic amateur.
There you go. So hey, you know what? That's my title in the bedroom with the old lady.
Yeah, okay.
So,
No, but I'm here to bring an end to bad hot takes, to bring some woke sensibilities to this show, and present a fair and balanced opinion.
You listened to the show before, right?
Oh, I listened to it.
yeah, he's a hypocrite.
Are you sure?
He's a hypocrite. He says he's going to bring woke sensibilities, but he's also platinumed Hogwarts Legacy twice.
Oh, J.K. Rowling, that evil woman.
It was really good to have you, Will. And then rounding it out, we have our tried and true, most reliable MVP on the show for 2023. That is T. Diddy. What's up, brother?
Who dat? Hey, glad to be here. Shout out to Will for showing up and being humble enough to come here and deal with the band of ruffians tonight.
That's right.
I look forward to his takes. And it's always nice to speak to someone who's a collector. I no longer collect. I'm just a guy who just finds random stuff that I think that my child will like now. It's just like, okay, will she like this game? I give it 5 seconds. Nope. And she knows when the first 5 seconds of something comes on, she's going to like it or not. Because it has to have a good theme song. If it doesn't have a good theme song, she doesn't like it.
Dude, you know what, Thomas, I was just scrolling through Facebook trying to pull up one of the threads that we had in there, and I noticed that a day ago you posted the Army of Me, I guess the song from the movie Sucker Punch.
That's correct.
No joke. I watched that movie 2 nights ago for the first time. Interesting movie.
Is that the Zack Snyder film, Sucker Punch?
Yeah.
Wait.
The masterful Zack Snyder. Yeah.
You, the prince of the Zack Snyder fan club, just saw Sucker Punch for the first time. That's right. So, funny story, right? Much like you, the biggest PlayStation collector here in the States, you buy a lot of games. You don't always play these games. Oh, well, I don't know.
Yeah. I support Mr. Snyder and all of his endeavors. I'll buy everything he does.
Did you enjoy the cinematography? Because I thought the cinematography was
awesome, man. It was wild. So
yeah, it's a great visual. That's my girlfriend's favorite movie, or one of her favorite movies. I got the movie poster framed downstairs.
Heck yeah.
She's cosplayed it, and I think her cosplay of the, I can't remember the character's name, was one of the reasons we got Baby Doll.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, right here I'm using a Sucker Punch mouse.
There you go.
Nice, man.
So yeah, the Sucker Punch is all over the house. I like the movie. Story, whatever. Great visuals.
I agree. Definitely, like when I watched it, I was like, You know what? You can spot a Zack Snyder movie from a mile away from the slow mo all the time. Just And it's like, here, we're going to open it up. Oh, slow motion death of my mother, slow motion potential.
But it's such a great soundtrack, man. I mean, you put Bjork in there, or excuse me, Bjork in there. She's quite a weirdo character, and to have that song and just every song in that movie makes sense from what they're going through, and then just the weirdness of it. And like I said again, every shot in that movie makes sense. It's just the story's not that great, but the shots are good.
Oh man, that samurai fight scene.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, get out of here.
Yeah. That was pretty wild. So, and then I followed it up the next night with the Army of the Dead, also by Master Snyder.
Army of the Dead.
Oh. It's a Netflix zombie movie he made.
Yeah, it's the new one with Dave Bautista in it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's new.
Old Bautista did pretty good.
I mean, it's only like Marcus Felix so much, but he's not Marcus.
Yeah, he wants to be Phoenix, but
he is Dom. He's not Marcus.
No, he could be Marcus. He could be Marcus.
Is that the film where they go into zombie-filled Las Vegas to try like a heist?
Yep.
There's a sequel to that as well. Or is
there a sequel?
You're thinking of the original. You're not thinking of the one that Zack Snyder made.
This is a remake. Yep.
Yes, I have seen that film.
Yeah, it's really good.
The original's from Rodriguez, right?
I didn't know that this was a remake because he remade Dawn of the Dead, where they're in the mall.
One of my favorite movies.
Yeah. Well, this is so funny. I was telling my dad, he and I were out game hunting the other morning, and I said, dude, I watched Army of the Dead, and I said, this, even though it's not in the same universe as Dawn of the Dead, this could be a sequel or a spiritual successor, just because there's so many little parallels and so many things that are like similar, not the same, and not necessarily like a through line intentionally, but Zack Snyder's hand, you can just see it in both of them. And there's just that touch of campiness where there's always I say always, in those two particular movies, there's these characters that are a little over the top, and I was like, man, this is, of course, the way the movie starts off, the whole way that the outbreak begins is from a BJ in a car. So it's like, what is this crap? But it was very, very interesting. And I thought, I put it on. I was like, I don't know that I'm going to stay up and watch this. It's 2.5 hours. I'll watch the first half one night, finish it the second half. Man, as soon as it started going, I couldn't put it down. I was like, I'm up for this. I'm in. And then as soon as I finished it, I turned it on for a second ago. But yeah, excellent movie. But that's not why we're here, guys. Even though I would love nothing more than to sit here and talk about how great Zack Snyder is and how amazing the Batman vs Superman movie is, and how it's like an onion and there's just layers and layers of awesome in there. How Zack Snyder is one of the greatest films ever released. And I know that's what you got.
Okay, the Snyder cut of the Justice League was good. All right, but Batman vs Superman was not. Get that shit.
You know what, Zach? You know what? I know you come in here with a lot of frosty energy. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to bring that old nasty boy out. It's like, you know what? I want to be negative, but like deep down, I really like the things that this man's saying. Yeah, and it's like, you know what? I really want to hate, but dang, that's
see, this is the problem though. Is as much as I dislike the way they did that movie, I love Batman, and Ben Affleck plays a decent Batman. I'm not. He's not the best. Nope, he's not the best, but he plays a decent Batman. Nope,
most comic accurate.
Okay, so if we're gonna keep talking about this, I'll just
say that
remind you of Michael Keaton, and then we'll end and then we'll end this.
Hey, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
This is
Loot Bros Podcast, guys. We're here to talk about video games. We're here to talk about the PlayStation Showcase. We're here because our man Will has a bone to pick with a handful of people on the show. Maybe they're here tonight. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Maybe they're ducking you, Will. That seems a little intentional.
Clyde's not here. Dude, I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names.
Joe?
Yeah, probably Joe.
Yeah.
Joe. And
he's ducking you.
Who's on the last show?
Oh man, so last week we had Tricky on.
I'm sorry.
We had Joe. We had T Diddy and myself.
D Titty and Joe and Tricky.
Yeah. And then the week before we had Macho Man.
It was
and Joe.
It was the show where you guys were talking about WADA and you had the guest on.
Yep.
And
Macho.
The fact that I wish I knew the name. He kept going on about how these how these sealed, encased tombs of video game had no is an arbitrary value.
Right.
It really is. It's whoever is willing to pay the amount.
The expert is here.
No, but listen. I mean, it's just the of eBay for collectors everywhere. eBay gives the value. eBay recent solds, that marks the value. You can't argue with it. There's an average. There it is. Just like we put our faith in the almighty dollar. I mean, you shake a dollar bill around, it's just a piece of paper. But no, our faith in this piece of paper gives it its value. And eBay is the lord of that value. So the day that these things don't have any value, it just irked me. I told Darrell I was yelling at my radio.
It's funny because every now and again, every week someone messages me and says, I'm riding down the road screaming at my car speakers right now because of something that was said on the show. And this week it was Will.
Yeah, and
I could hear him from across the country. It does have value. eBay dictates the value. The market has spoken.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I may not like it. You may not like it, but it is what it is. And these things do have an intrinsic value, and set by the.
And that was not me, by the way.
That's right. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was the other gentleman.
It was Joe. Everybody message Joe. Say, hey, sorry about your butt. So check it out. So I just kind of want to piggyback off that because I was actually at the flea market and there's a gentleman out there trying to sell a graded copy of Madden like 21 or something like that for $120. And I'm like, just because it's wrapped in plastic and it's got a 9.2 or 9.4, I don't know. It'll be on one of my next few videos. I've only got like 18 videos backed up.
Was it signed?
No, it was just graded. And the thing is people see the game in the case and in their mind, there's like, wow, this is worth something. All right. That's where the value proposition starts because people see it and they're like, wait a second, this is clean, it is safe, it is in a case, it's worse.
Who's on 21? Is that
it was the football player.
Lamar or is it Tom Brady?
Not Tom Brady.
Is it Mahomes?
I don't know, man. He plays the foosball.
You're the sports guy here. You should know this.
He plays the foosball.
I do know this, and I think
I don't even know that it's really 21. The point is that this guy said this is $120, okay? And that is how the value proposition starts because one person takes one item and says it's worth this. Now, where that value is determined from there is, are you going to pay that for it? Now, he and I were speaking, and he was like, best I could do is maybe $100, you know? So he was willing to start at 100 and 120 and go down to 100. If I'd have paid 100, then guess what, gentlemen? From that point on, this game is now valued at $100 because that's what someone was willing to pay for it. And when these things are graded and they're being sold back and forth on platforms like eBay, Mercari, things of that nature, that value ebbs and flows, and I have to work off of those values, graded or not, every single week as I'm putting items on my store.
eBay, the most expensive copy of that game, 21, which Lamar Jackson's on, it's worth all of $10.
That's graded.
That's graded. That's not graded. So graded.
Well, either way.
Yeah, I mean, it's Lamar. Unless it's signed by Lamar Jackson, I don't think it's worth anything, in my personal opinion. I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's one of the best new players to come out. He just got his new contract this year. But unless he's signed it personally, it's not worth squatta. Sports games always lose value. Sports games never keep their value because there's a new one every year. The only ones that's worth something are the ones that do like a special tribute, like the NBAs. Like let's say they do a Jordan story or they do something about Kobe, the rise and fall of Kobe Bryant or whatever. Then that's worth something because there's an inside story inside the game that's only for that particular game.
Or the last NCAA game because that one's worth a nice little penny.
That penny price is going to be going. There's going to be a penny price soon. As soon as they
release that.
Got that right.
Hey, that's what I sold my loose copy. I had a loose copy of it. I sold it for $90 or $98 on eBay without plus shipping. because I knew I did the same thing with Lollipop Chainsaw. I didn't want to sell my copy of Lollipop Chainsaw, but that remake is imminent. So that
you still got your digital copy of NCAA College Football for the Xbox or for the PS3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
the thing about Lollipop is the new one is probably going to drive up the price of the old one because of licensing.
You think?
Because some licensing, they couldn't get the licensing back on some of the songs, and
music. Yep.
People, when you're playing a game, I mean that soundtrack, when it comes to nostalgia, it's just as much as part of the nostalgic experience as playing the game. So,
Will, do you have the Japanese one with the extra costumes that were only available in Japan?
I try to avoid Japanese games. I got a couple in my collection, but the language barrier, I just can't deal with it.
He has the same problem with Japanese people too. He tries to avoid them as well.
You stop. This is the bullshit I'm talking about.
Darrell, how's that anime going?
Well, my whole thing is the only Japanese game that's easy, that's translated over really easy for the Americans is DOA Volleyball 3. That's translated over to English.
How do you read jiggle in English? That's what I want to know.
No, it's all, they have it all in English because there's very few, it's a volleyball game. So there's like just few words and they have it in English.
Darrell, you might be interested in Resident, or I think it's called Biohazard HD Selection. It's a PS3 version of, it's got Code Veronica on there. And the text is in Japanese, but the game is in English. So if you can follow your way through the menus in Japanese, it's the closest we're going to get to a remake. I mean, honestly, I think that should be the next remake Capcom does.
Yeah, well, they released a remaster of it on PS4. Really? They did the back when PlayStation did the PS2 to PS4 collection, so you could get like that Code Veronica X with trophies, and then on PS3 for Xbox and 360, Xbox and PlayStation 3, they did like the XBLA version. So there's two versions out there that are playable on those mid consoles.
Was it digital only? The PS4 Code Veronica?
The PS3 one was digital only in the States, and the Xbox version. So you remember when Resident Evil 6 came out on PS3, it had you could buy the special edition, which was the anthology edition. So you had 1 through 6 on one disc.
Yeah.
And it was basically digital versions of 1, 2, and 3, 4, and then 5 and 6. They might have been download codes. I don't remember this point.
There's a sheet.
But and then for the Xbox version, you got the Archives edition, I believe is what it was called. And so because they didn't have 1, 2, and 3, because those are PlayStation exclusives, you got Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, and there might have been one more in there. Again.
What about those two shooting games that came out for PS3? Were they only for the PS3?
They were the PS3.
With the light
they
gun?
had PS3 versions and Wii versions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Operation Raccoon City.
We had no ORC was the Slant 6 game. That was the one they. Yeah, this listen's freaking hater. You know, I
that was terrible, and you know that was terrible
with that freaking game. You know what? My first experience ever streaming was I got hooked up with a Resident Evil group that was streaming back on like Ustream and Justin TV before Twitch and all that stuff was a thing, and we played ORC on Xbox 360 from start to finish and had the time of our lives. That game was so much fun.
You see the key word there was you played it with other people. That's what made it fun, not the game itself.
Well, I wasn't playing with other people doing nothing. We were playing the game and we were having a good time. So I love that game, actually. I think that is such an interesting concept too, taking the enemy's perspective and then going backwards through Raccoon City, trying to cover your tracks, destroy evidence, and then ultimately getting to do a what-if scenario where you could potentially kill some of the main characters. Granted, the gameplay wasn't the best we've ever experienced in the world. That game was a lot of fun and very, very innovative for what it was trying to do. So, haters, stand down. That was a fun game. So, all right. So since we got all this hate coming out, man, I gotta cool my throat because it sounds like I'm gonna be challenged a lot tonight, and I'm gonna have to Steve them off. So here we go. We like to toast to the beginning of the show to our Patreon producers each and every week. So thank you guys so much. Sadik, Red Beer Rick, Matt G, and your anime loving behind. And then my name is effing Mayo. Did I say MZ Nitro? MZ Nitro as well. Thank you guys. Will's another one that takes his headphones off.
I always mute my car radio.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
It's off to your Patreons, but damn.
Yeah, hats off to those guys for listening to me slurping their ear for so many years. All right, so since we have a guest in the house, we'll let him start. Zach, what have you been playing?
Oh, you bunny. What new? Well, right now I'm actually playing a game on the PlayStation Plus service. I'm right now as we speak, I'm playing Slay the Spire because it seems to be one that not a lot of people like playing, I guess. Playing Slay the Spire.
Here we go. Here comes the next wave of messages. Rick's riding down the road screaming in the speakers, I talk about how much I love that game all the time.
No, so the only two people that I know that play it are Kalai and Rick.
Yeah, Rick is 100%. I think 3 times now. Xbox, PlayStation, and mobile.
He has a problem, but no, I'm just I decided I would play something that I could just mindlessly play while we're sitting here podcasting. Maybe pop a couple of trophies so Gaz will shut up and leave me alone for once. For 1 week. For 1 week. 1 week would be great. He was very excited. So 1 week. And then I also beat something that Rick's going to be really happy about. I'm not gonna.
Your meat,
yes, but he would not be happy.
It wasn't on PlayStation. I can promise you
that. So whenever the episode comes out, I'll post the picture. So on Monday, Rick, I finally beat my pledge game. Whoop whoop whoop!
Oh, there you go. Good job.
Streets of Rogue. I had some time because it was a very long road trip, and the hotel was very boring. So beat Streets of Rogue. Very hard. Won't delve too deep into it. And then I've been playing a little bit of Call of Duty here and there when I get a chance. I haven't really been playing a whole heck of a lot. I've been really busy this week. It's been a rough week. So that's all it. Right. That's all for me.
That's very good. You did a good job. All right, Will, what have you been playing?
Dad?
Well, as I was mentioning before we started recording, I sent my PS5 back to Sony because it was turning off by itself and blah, 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 blah. And still under warranty, and I wasn't going to take that shit. But before it left, still been playing PUBG because I enjoy that game. It's just a good time. It's relaxing. Picked up 2 oddball games that I wanted to trade because they're rather rare. And I wanted to trade for something I wanted. And but it turns out I actually enjoy them. First one is Surfing World Series.
Oh, snap.
I was expecting like a Tony Hawk ripoff on a wave. It's a little more complex than that.
That'd be Kelly Slater.
Yeah, well, I've never, I never played that one back in the day, but I know what you're talking about. I guess the Matt Hoffman again, also same vein. But Surfing World Series that was fun. And also Car Mechanic Simulator. And
I played that.
You played it?
Yeah, I played that.
I got as far as changing the oil and going out to the track, and then I got a car in the garage. I started taking it apart, and I didn't know how to put this thing back together. So that's as far as I got with Car Mechanic Simulator. Again, both rarish games. The Car Mechanic Simulator is like a $50 game. I got it for $15 off of some. He looked like a 10-year-old on a bicycle. But I'm here for it.
Stole it from his dad.
Yeah, he said, my dad don't even play games.
So those are the last 2 PS4 games I played, and I've been playing PS1 games lately. Keeping with the communist theme that you guys have had going here, I've been playing Soviet Strike. A lot of fun. Old school PS1 game. You're a helicopter. You're shooting shit up. You got little missions. You pick up dudes. You save your dudes. You got to save your guy. It's got like these FMV cutscenes. There's Soviet Strike. There's Jungle Strike. There's Desert Strike. EA games before EA became the evil empire. And I highly recommend them. And also I'm taking a stab. Final Fantasy 1. Never played it.
Oh, snap.
Never played it. The Pixel remaster came out recently. I think it's 1 through 6. And the physical version immediately shot up for like, a friend of mine bought a copy for like $400. Yeah, and this
Holy
is.
moly!
I mean, you can get it. You can get the game.
Yo, where's your friend live so I can go rob him? Clearly, he's one of the richest people in the world. Spending $600.
He lives in Long Island, New York. If he's listening, Sean, I'm pointing you out. Final Fan. Everybody's. I missed out on the game. Got a little FOMO on it, but I could have gotten it on. It's on PS4 or PS5, whichever, and you can buy it digitally. But fuck that. I went and downloaded a pirated copy on my Android TV box, and I've been playing that. And those are the games I've been playing.
Will, for a real quick thing, where can people reach you? Because you didn't tell us your stats or where your show is located at.
We do the PlayStation Collector podcast. We go on weekly. You can find us on Figsy_games on YouTube. But if you search it on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found, PlayStation Collectors Podcast, you will find us. And
it is one of my top 5 favorite podcasts to listen to.
Oh, stop!
even when you have like a guest that sounds like he's in the back of a kitchen in a restaurant,
dude. He was.
Tell me that's where he was at.
He was at Taco Bell.
Oh my
god! This is a. Yeah, do you want me to tell the story? I'll tell it.
Yeah, do it. Tell the story.
I'm not going to say who it is. He's I guess he's, as far as YouTubers go, he's got a great following. He's got about 20,000.
Yeah, 20 something thousand people. Yeah,
and it seems he does all his internet work at Taco Bell for the Wi-Fi. And,
that is amazing.
That's where he was. That's where he was coming from, and you could hear the chairs scraping and the beeping of the fryer being done. As far as audio, it wasn't a great show. But teaches though, yeah. I don't want to talk shit on anybody. Is what I'm getting at.
No. I was making a joke because the show is good, even when the audio from your guest is not. And I listened to that show, and normally I would be like, all right, you know what? This is a little much for me. But I was so into what you guys were talking about that I started following him on YouTube, and his production value is really good on YouTube. His YouTube videos are good. And the dude finds some insane deals. Dude. Like, it is insane.
Yeah. I asked, I think that was the first question out of my mouth was, what fairy tale land do you live in, where you're finding all these deals? It's like, you're going to do 100 or, 10 terrible, hunts until you get one good enough for YouTube. I'm sure he's got his 10 times as many failures as he does home run shows, but is what it is. Sound wasn't so good. I enjoyed the guest. He was a good guy. And it is what it is. And I kind of got put my foot in my mouth because I started talking shit on Phoenix Resale. I don't know if you know this guy. The guy told me
Phoenix Resale.
Yeah,
Phoenix Resale.
Yeah, that contemptible son of a bitch. And he is the guest tells me, oh, he's a friend of mine. I was like, oh, fuck, goddamn it.
Well, I'll never resell a game again.
Oh man,
nah, dude, I'm not a huge fan of Phoenix Resale. Like,
I feel like he fakes how genuine he is. Yeah, just to be like, I don't like his content seems staged in a lot of parts, and he just doesn't seem very genuine with what he's trying to.
I feel that same energy. What you're saying right now, I feel that same thing when I watch this stuff. When I watch the main channel, but watching the Phoenix Resale, or no, what is it?
Yeah.
It's not Phoenix.
Yeah,
Phoenix Resale.
Phoenix Resale. That's his other one. Yeah.
When he just kind of does more of the like, let me just hang out and talk and kind of about what's going on and what I'm doing. I like it so much more. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, when I discovered him, I didn't like his content because I didn't like the character he was portraying. But then when I watched the more down to earth videos, I'm like, you know what? This dude seems pretty. I mean, I kind of dig the other stuff.
Well, I'll give you my 2 bits. Why I'm not a fan. I'm an anti-fan. And number one, he's not from Phoenix. I'm in Mesa, Arizona, right outside of Phoenix. I'm more Phoenix Resale than he is. Number 2, I saw on video, he went to a garage sale. Some little old lady pulled out a box full of just grails, NES grails, gives him a steal of a deal. He proceeds to lowballer from there. And right there, I was like, come on, man, that's somebody's grandma, you son of a bitch. And, number 3, at these garage sales, he's pulling out his phone in front of the sellers, and he's doing his fucking, eBay, Amazon double checking on the prices. And it's like, come on, you don't do that in front of the seller. Come on now. You go off to the side and you freaking, because otherwise then they're going to go to the freaking internet, and then all of a sudden the prices, it's just bad form if you ask me. You guys,
you know what? I do. I feel that on a level too, because I catch myself, and I've been filming a fart ton of videos, and a lot of times I have that same in my head. I'm like, am I damaging the potential of doing this again next week by pulling my phone out and scanning it in front of them? Or should I just take a chance and maybe take a loss? You know what I'm saying? So I sometimes I'll scan, sometimes I won't. A lot of times I do this, and I'll say, and I did this just this past week. I was like, you know what? Let me see if I have this one or not. And I'll pull my phone out, and I will go to GameEye, but I'll also go to eBay.
GameEye is right there. You got the prices right there. Now, I might be a hypocrite for saying this, but I've done it. But I try to do it on the sly. I try and go, go over there and look at the Barbies and do it.
These are for my kids, not me.
So for me, it's a little bit different when I'm like in a store doing it.
Oh,
like a brick and mortar store. But like if I'm at a yard sale, I'm not going to do that. Like I guarantee you that half those people are already going to give you a deal with you just asking them. It's a yard sale. They're trying to get rid of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I just feel you should know your craft. If you're operating on the level Phoenix Resale is, again, you should know what the hell is going on. You should be able to look at something and just eyeball it. Come up with
I got one. I want to. This is the perfect segue into the story I want to tell you. It's not. I haven't released the video yet because I think what I'm going to do is make an entire video of deals that I walked away from. Because everyone always shows off. Oh, look at this great deal I got. Oh, look at this whatever. But I don't see a ton where it's like, look at everything that I didn't buy. Should I have done it? You know what I'm saying? So one of my next videos coming up that I'm getting ready to drop is this. In the video, it was a kind of a crappy day at the flea market, anyways. This guy walks up to me, sees the camera on my chest. He goes, "Hey, man." He goes, "You buy video games?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Meet me at my Jeep in 5 minutes. I got some stuff for you." I'm like, oh, dang, here we go. One of two things is going to happen. He's either going to have some games or he's going to try to rape me. Something's coming. So I go over there.
It's not a Jeep. Like
thing, to be honest with you.
And he raped you.
And I was like, I go over there and he opens up his vehicle. Now, for just want to throw this out there, he did his research because he had Punisher logos all over his vehicle. So this was the equivalency of a van pulling up with a puppy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting in the van. I've got a puppy. Here's my Punisher vehicle full of video games. I'm going to tickle your butt. Like this is really what it felt like it was going to happen. So he opens up the door and I said, "Well, what do you have when you get? What are you trying to get on it?" He goes, "I got a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Dreamcast, the whole 9, stack of games." Sorry guys, if you hear the dogs behind me. He said, "I'm going to look at it, pull it all out. Then I'm going to let you look. Then I'm going to give it a price." And I was like, okay. Interesting series of events. So what you're going to do is you're going to show me you digging through everything, get my mouth watering. Then you're going to let me touch it, get me excited, get my hopes up. Then you're going to crush my dreams with this enormous price. And I'm going to have to say no, or I'm going to have to bend the knee and give you whatever you want for it. Now, he opens up the van, okay, and I see Elden Ring, I see I remember some other brand new game. I saw a Nintendo, Super Nintendo. He said a Dreamcast was in there. I never saw the Dreamcast. No, I mean, he said it was in there. I don't know. I didn't crawl all the way in there. He started to grab me and I ran away. So then he had this stack of games, and it was probably like 8 copies of Wii Sports, maybe 10. I don't know. I haven't gone back to the video and counted them yet. But just like tons and tons of games, a stack of loose Dreamcast games in like little paper sleeves, one of which was Marvel vs. Capcom. I don't know if it was 1 or 2. I don't even know if 1 came out for the Dreamcast. I just saw Marvel vs. Capcom on it. So, I mean, just kind of at first glance, I'm thinking there's $500-$600 worth of stuff here, stacks of games. No PSP and no Vita, so I wasn't in total danger of going home with the guy, but there was a lot of stuff there that for a reseller standpoint. So then I said, all right, well, this is a lot of good stuff. What are you trying to get? There was a couple Switch games in there. I said, what are you trying to get on it? He goes, let me look back at it again. And then he looks at it a second time. And I'm like, okay, $300, we got a deal. $400, I'll make a face, but we still got a deal. $500, I'm gonna say, man, you're killing me. What's the best you could give me? Give me $450. $600, I'll pull the plug. I'm out. Because in my head, I'm like, there's just first glance, like you were saying, like if you know your craft, you got to be able to make those deals on the fly. Because the longer you sit there, and if I went in there and scanned everything, it might not be $600. It might be $700-$800. Like the longer I give him to change his mind, it's kind of where my head's at. So I look at it, I'm thinking in my head, if we can do $300 on this one, I'll go. I'll easily double my money. He goes in for the second wind. And then he turns around and says, I'm going to have to get 6 for this. And I was like, I'm going to have to pass, brother. I walked away, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, was there $600 or was there $800 in there?
Did you?
Even at $800.
Were you able to check the systems yourself?
I mean, not in the back of his vehicle. You just have to look at him and take a chance.
Did you counter?
Nah, that's too much of a big risk, man, because a lot of people sometimes will carry little things in the back of their vehicle where they can charge it, and they'll have like a little small screen, because I've dealt with people before where they have a small screen and you can actually check the systems right there in their car and put a couple in there. Yeah. Now, that's been just a few times, but if he has that much equipment in the back of his vehicle, who knows? Because with a Dreamcast, most of the time, those are going to have some bad lasers. So you're really taking not a 50-50 chance. You're taking like a 70-30 chance that son of a gun's not going to work.
Oh, dude. Like, I use that rule with Xbox 360. Like, if it's got to be $30 or less, or I'm not even touching it, because this thing's failure rates are so high. Yeah, then there's other systems out there that have issues like that. I just am like, no, I'm not even touching it. But like PS1s, I have 3 or 4 dead PS1s downstairs. I think I've bought 6 in the last 6 months, and only 1 or 2 have worked. Like it's crazy how many dead PS1s I pick up. So I walked away from it. But just like you were saying though, Will, like if you know your craft, you can make that judgment call. And you can, especially somebody like him who makes a living and has been doing this easily 3 years. Yeah. I've just been doing this for a few months. I mean, granted, I've been buying, selling, and trading my whole life. So like I'm no newbie to it, but like I've only been seriously looking for things and trying to make a profit off of them for a few months. And I just.
Did you counter him on the 600 or did you just no?
No. I didn't even want to pay. I didn't want to pay $400 for it.
Yeah.
If he would have started at $400, I might have tried to play a little bit. At $600, I already knew that I wasn't going to do it. So even if I got him down to $500, I don't know. Just at first glance, it wasn't enough.
You made the right call, man. You would have hated yourself if you would have even paid $500 for it, even if it all worked, because then all the work you have to put in. Think of how many hours you got to put in to actually resell it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like if you get it a low enough margin to where it's like a no brainer, then absolutely. But in that case, but again, that's kind of why I want to make this video where it's just like 3. I passed on like I think a Wii U bundles. You know what I'm saying? That same day, and this big bundle of games and stuff, and I got it all on video, which is awesome because typically when people lure me in their vehicles, I had to turn my camera off. That's part of the rules.
Oh man,
T Diddy, did you ever tell us what you were playing?
No, sir, I did not. But before I do, let me say, pay honor and respect to Tina Turner passing away yesterday. She was my crush as a little boy back in the 80s. I loved her to death. That's how old I am. Let me also give a shout out to the Bearded Nerd for his people passing away, man. Much love and respect to you and your people for everything that you're going through, man. And it's always trying times, but God's always with us. When it comes to games, currently, I am playing Street Fighter 6 demo.
Oh, yeah?
I was playing the beta. I'm looking forward to it coming out next Friday because I love Street Fighter. I'm a huge Street Fighter nerd. I'm the biggest fanboy when it comes to Street Fighter. And then on my Xbox X series, I've been playing Raiden's game. I can't think of what it's called. Lightning Rising or something, or
Metal Gear
Rising.
Revengeance.
Yeah, Revengeance. Yeah, so I'm playing that, and then I'm also playing the console version of Peace Walker on there. So
Nice.
those are just things I'm currently playing, and then of course my usual enemies, which are Hogwarts Legacy, followed by Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Yeah, Street Fighter 6. Now, I am a huge fighting game fan, but Street Fighter 6, something about that game just rubbing me the wrong way. It's honestly, it looks like they're just
way better than 5, dude. 5 was straight up dog shit.
It's not. I play the demo, and it's not about the demo. It's not about the gameplay at all. It's just it looks like they're trying too damn hard. Now, I know I said in the beginning, I'm here to bring some woke sensibilities to this show, but they are overdoing it. What's the name of the guy on the Fifth Dimension? That movie,
The Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
You talking about Chris Tucker?
Chris Tucker's character.
Yeah.
Chris Tucker's character is the host in this video game. And
oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Look, it has a lot of stuff I don't like. The one new female character actually stole. You know who Ibiki is, right?
Ibiki?
Yeah.
No.
This girl stole all of Ibiki's moves and like a few other moves from the South African girl Eliza. She stole both of their moves and combined them together. She has like long dreads. She's pretty tall, by the way, too. But she straight up has Ibiki's moveset. I mean, straight up stolen. I guess because she was a redhead. For those who get that reference,
I don't.
Okay, so in DC Universe, because Darrell knows this because he's a DC guy, in the DC Universe, every redhead has been replaced with a person of a different background, per se. I'll leave it at that.
Ethnic background.
That is correct. So every redhead has been replaced by a different ethnic background.
If you are a
it's just factual, by the way,
skinned redhead, you are doomed
to be replaced.
That's right.
And I'm assuming that Ibiki had red hair underneath her ninja cloths, and that's why she's been replaced.
Jeez.
And
it's very possible.
I could make a ginger joke, but I don't want to offend them.
That's right.
Well, offend who?
The ginger.
The only other two people on the show are bald.
we were genders. We were gingers in our past life. Trophy.
Wow.
But no, man, Street Fighter 6 is so amazing because they took everything I love about Street Fighter 4 Ultra and added to it. And the guy who made 5 and made 4 is no longer part of the projects because I figured he was more like, he basically went the same path that Tonobu Itagaki went, where he got too big for his britches and started filling up the female help. And if people are not familiar with Tonobu Itagaki, he was the guy behind Team Ninja before he got taken out because he was handsy with the female programmers. Allegedly. I don't want Tonobu Itagaki coming and finding me and kicking the hell out of me.
It's over in Japan, though, right?
Yes, it's over in Japan. Hey, man. Hey, dude, he may be as petty as Michael Jordan is. Someone was talking smack about Michael Jordan one time. Literally, dude's retired. He basically flies halfway across the country, goes to their practice, and beats this dude on a one-on-one. Legit. You can look this up on YouTube. I'm like, dude, you got to be a petty motherfucker to basically just hop on your own private jet because you heard somebody talking some noise and then go to their freaking practice as another NBA player and then punk him and then get back on your jet and leave like it ain't nothing.
Dude, that's what all retired people should do in sports is just go freaking bully all these newbies that want to punch up.
That man said, you want to be about it? Let's be about it.
But when you talked about Taco Bell, Will, what I thought of when you said YouTube is like I think someone needs to do a YouTube channel where like they eat all this horrible food and they just go to Taco Taco Bell and just shit in their bathroom. And the whole thing is, it's just like every day you just eat the most worst food that you can eat. You just blow up a Taco Bell bathroom. So people think it's Taco Bell food.
Like the granular level that you have to be at to like, wow, every time I go to Taco Bell, it smells like poo. The food's got to be bad here.
Oh man, I have Taco Bell coming tonight. My girlfriend's bringing it home.
He said, "I'm gonna blow my own bathroom."
Immediately after that podcast, I had a hankering, and when she brought some Taco Bell home that night as well.
As a correlation, you come over here and then you poop the place up. So hey, I'm glad we can clean your bowels for you. Anything else from you, T Diddy? Anything else you've been playing?
Man, nothing else I've been playing, man. I'm just super excited to be here. I think from last week, I think we all pretty much tied, so we're all losers. The only person who actually came out, I think, ahead would maybe Tricky Mick. I got the Final Fantasy. I think all I hit was Final Fantasy. And then whenever we go into detail, I got some real good details that I mentioned to you earlier today.
Sweet. All right, so check it out, guys. Man, F you, PlayStation Network. I don't want to scam back in. All right, I have been playing a handful of games. One of them is going to surprise you, all right? So I've been playing...
In an order that would surprise you.
Yeah. A is for Alfred. B is for Bat.
A is for Nintendo Switch. X is for Xbox. P is for PlayStation.
There you go. All right, so I have been playing some Kung Fu Panda. That's the Showdown of Legendary Legends. This game is absolute dog crap. Like, this game is freaking trash. The game is terrible. I hate it, but the trophies are stupid rare. And I sent a video into the Loot Bros podcast messenger group the other day to kind of show you guys the level I will go to self-boost trophies.
Facts.
And it would, so this is the one rare game where remote play was giving me issues. And I don't know if it was like my connectivity in the house was bad. Because I've been having a little bit of Wi-Fi trouble this week anyways. So I'm not putting it all off on the franchise worldwide, Jimmy Ryan and all of his excellence. It could be on my end because my phone's been disconnected from the network while I'm using my Roku and stuff. So it could be me, but I was having some issues streaming my son's PlayStation 5 to my iPad. So what I like to do when I'm playing a multiplayer game, I don't want to go online and actually get beat up by people that are good at the game. I just want to cheat and beat myself, and get easy points.
Did you say
all right
yourself?
Yeah, I don't want to beat
yourself, huh?
He makes you go doing, 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 doing.
And so what I did was I like to stream from one device to another and then sit there and beat myself. Got it. All right. So that being said, I do all of this while I'm working. So I beat myself while I'm working.
Oh, man.
So you're saying you beat yourself off while you work?
I hope you're new.
And if you think about it, I am beating myself off of the ledge in the game. So yes, I'm beating myself off. To get easy trophy points. But here's the thing. So it wasn't working. And I was working on this file and it was being super frustrated.
You did say it wasn't working before the show started too.
Do I now?
So you said it wasn't working before the show started too, You're getting old, remember? Not in your prime. Ain't as good as you want.
Oh, that's when you're joking. Got it. So it wasn't working. Like I couldn't get the remote play to function correctly. So
maybe
I was
you need to beat it some more.
Well, I was trying. That was complications, not getting everything to function properly. So here's the thing. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So what I did was I went and got my daughter's iPhone. I took a controller stand that we have that you mount multiple PlayStation controllers on.
Yeah.
I propped it in front of my son's TV in the basement, turned on his PlayStation 4 Pro, put Kung Fu Panda on there and logged in to one of my alt accounts. Then I propped up the phone, my daughter's phone, on the controller stand and FaceTimed my iPad so I could see what was happening on the screen. Ran back up to my office and I had the controller for the PS4 Pro and then I had my controller from a PS5 over here. as I'm working, I would just look at my iPad that was FaceTiming my daughter's phone. I would log back into the rank match, and while I'm working, I would just hold the joystick over and commit suicide over and over and over with the player 2. And I would win the match, continue working, reload when I got to a stopping point, and I just did that throughout the day so that I could pop these online rank trophies because they're a mega grind. I think you have to play like 500 matches or something crazy like that. So it's going to be stupid, but these are really, really good points. And it's something I can do while I'm working that doesn't necessarily require a lot of attention. So Kung Fu Panda sucks. In order for me to get this platinum, I'm really going to have to hate myself because I'm still, even after I self-boost all the online stuff, it's going to be a real pain in the nuts to beat the arcade mode with every character because the combat in this game is trash. It's abysmal. And I just platinumed Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl on 2 different SKUs, the PS4 and PS5. This thing right here is garbage. I've been playing some basketball and dragon pinball. So basketball, pinball, dragon pinball. These are just pinball games with different themes. They're not good. Don't recommend them, but they're good points. So I'm playing them for our trophy competition. Played some Blair Witch, the Bloober Team Blair Witch game. I think it actually launched on Game Pass when it first came out.
I'm so scared right now.
So good. So I'm playing that. It is really good. It's really good. I really enjoy this game. So it's not like a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, but it's a solid little psychological horror game in the Blair Witch universe.
So was there a guy beating off in the corner?
Not yet, but there is still time. I'm early in the game.
Okay.
So yeah, but interesting. He does have a dog, so there's that. I don't know. It's a dog being there. It's going to negate the opportunity for other things. We'll see. Played and finished Batman Arkham Origins on the PS3. Excellent game. Amazing boss fights. Like that game has some really, really good boss fights. I beat Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on PS5. Excellent game. Doing some trophy cleanup on there. And then the last 2 games I want to talk about are Succubus. Have you guys heard of Succubus?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Have you heard of the game Agony?
Yes.
The PS4 game, first person horror game in hell.
Mm-hmm.
So when Agony was first announced, it was like, this is this super crazy, like this is what hell's going to be like. There's a person in hell and you do a first person whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And it was just supposed to be really focused on the horror and the gore. And then they're like, oh yeah, well there's like tons of nudity because you're in hell and all this stuff. So then the game got censored on consoles. Well, that works just fine for me because I don't know that I want to see some pixelated penises anyways. So I purchased Agony when it first came out, but I've never played it. Now, I do own it on the Switch, and I played a few minutes of it, but I don't remember, I don't know, maybe an hour at most. But I never really got into the game, never really spent time with it. It got really bad reviews, and I was like, you know what? This will be one of those B or C movie, horror games I'll play one day when I'm in the mood for it. Well, the sequel came out, Succubus, and it was supposed to be more focused on combat. And apparently you meet the succubus in hell in Agony, and this is like her whole game. Again, when it comes to content, gratuitous nudity and violence, all that stuff is supposed to be turned up to 11. But again, the PlayStation version is heavily censored, which, for me, that's fine. So now, instead of seeing pixelated PPs, they're just little blurry, spaces over all the potential wieners and boobies. So that being said, I was just going through games that I owned that were like, what are good points? I need to put some points on the board for our GTTSC event for this week. And Succubus was pretty decent points, and some of the trophies kind of lined up with some of the bonuses we have to do this week. So I was like, you know what? This will be a good one. I'll go ahead and play this a little bit. And it's actually pretty good. Combat-wise, it's pretty good. Graphically, it's not terrible. I mean, honestly, some of the screenshots I saw from Forspoken look worse than this game. And this is a little indie team just making gratuitous, nasty horror games. Overall, not bad. I popped 7 trophies in it. Got a few points on the board. Not really hitting any home runs with it, but eventually I'll finish this game. And it's pretty decent so far. I was pleasantly surprised.
Hey, Darrell, you mentioned Batman. Have you ever played the Batman Vita game Blackgate?
Yeah, I don't really like that one. That's the Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually had to restart that one twice from memory cards dying. I don't know if there's a correlation from Batman Blackgate and my memory cards dying, but I had a 64 gig when my console launched. I mean, that thing was 7 years old when it died, and then I had a 32 gig that I got in a trade deal once, and that one died. So I've lost my progress multiple times, but that game's not super easy. Like, I'm not saying it's hard, but it's just not like you're not going to fly through it. And it's a Metroidvania, so it's not one of those games that you can kind of mindlessly play. Like, you kind of need to pay attention to what you're doing because it is very easy to get lost, and there's a decent amount of puzzles in it. It looks good. It looks great on the Vita. And of course, being that it's that Batman Arkham universe, I mean, it's really cool once you're in it, but that's just a game that I, unfortunately, and you guys know, I've said this on the show for years, if I lose a save, there's something in me mentally that just breaks. And it's like, I struggle going back when I lose the save file. So, but yeah, I do own it. I actually think I own like 3 copies of it.
I got a question about these trophies. So the trophies, these groups, this entire trophies are by any means necessary. You can fudge things any way you want. Or that's not frowned upon. That's like, oh, hey, way to get creative.
I mean, no one's out really. Frowned upon.
No one's getting jumping burrito.
Not in Darrell's dirty.
So your jumping burritos, your Taco Tuesday games, all that stuff, those are banned. Like, those don't count for the contest. Mm-hmm. So you have to play. Now, they weren't always banned, and some challenges will allow them, but for the most part, easy game bans are in place on this event. It's a 14-week event, and let's say like PlayStation deems that a bronze trophy is worth 15 points. Well, TrueTrophies.com has their own point value based on completion, right? So if a bunch of people play a game that's on PlayStation Plus, but they didn't get a lot of the trophies, those trophies are more rare. They have way more points associated. So let's say PlayStation says this is a 15-point bronze trophy, but True Trophy says, well, this is a 30-point trophy on our system based on our algorithm. You take the difference, so 15-point difference. That would then go into my score for the week. Sometimes it's 15 and 15, and I just worked my balls off for a trophy that got no points. Or maybe it's 1 point. Sometimes it's really, really crazy. Where you really get into it is when you finish games, you platinum 100%, or you do the super rare trophies that will pop you. They'll net you a couple hundred points sometimes, which is why I've been trying to play some things that are a little more obscure or games that are on PlayStation Plus, like Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. Now, to answer your question, is it frowned upon? Probably, but there's not too many of us out there on a podcast spoiling our secrets. You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing is this, that my listeners, do your thing, T. Diddy, my listeners love to hear the hoops I'm willing to jump through to pop a trophy here and there. So for me, it's like if I got contacted by True Trophies, they're like, "Hey, Resident Darrell, it's really frowned upon that you're FaceTiming yourself from your upstairs to your downstairs so that you can push yourself off a ledge to get cheap points." Well, hey, I'll be like, you know what? I'll just wait till after the contest to tell it next time.
So no one's policing this. The trophy SWAT team's not going to come crashing through your window. You can't do that.
Yeah. So there's forums and there's threads and there's things where people, there's some policing going on, and I mean, like, if you get caught cheating or doing something that they do deem is not okay, you just get banned. Yeah. So, and I don't want to get banned. But like, I am legitimately earning these things. I'm just legitimately earning them in a way that is maybe not necessarily traditional.
A creative way.
Yeah, I definitely get points for creativity because I was getting real pissed off that I couldn't just stream it and play it like normal. So I had to FaceTime myself playing on another console.
I watched that and I literally had to shake my head.
Oh, I'm sure you little ex-swats are in there judging me like, look at this guy.
I couldn't help it. I just had to shake my head. I'm like, really?
Yeah, really. And I will do way worse than that to make sure that my team makes it to the final couple weeks. So we're playing against the top trophy hunters in the world right now, man. Like, it's down to the wire. I've never been good at anything, but I've always found a way. So. I wasn't good at guitar. I just did things that were a little bit different. And then people were like, wait a second. We had this one 7 fret stretch, okay, from my index finger to my pinky finger, 7 frets on the guitar, inverse. So instead of me being index finger on the top string, pinky finger on the string underneath it, so 7 and 6 or 6 and 5 if you're one of those nerds that play a 6-string guitar. I played 7 strings because I'm cool. I would do the opposite. So index finger on 6, pinky finger on 7. The problem is, in order for me to get my fingers to do that, I would have to stand my guitar up. So what I would do is I'd play up to this point in the song, and then I would go, and I would do this thing where I'd just prop the guitar up, drop down a crab stance, and do this weird note. The thing is this, our bass player, she was a musical genius. We're practicing or whatever. And I do this thing and everybody looks at me and like, oh my God, that looks so cool. And I'm like, yeah, we'll call the song The Claw because I'm doing this weird thing in my hand. No joke. I'm not even kidding. Name the song The Claw. And my bass player, she's kind of looking at me. She's laughing. She's like, hey, you realize if you just play these 2 notes over here, you can do that with 1 finger. And I was like, Jen, yeah, I realized that. No, I didn't realize it because I'm not a musical engineer like you. I'm not smart. I just did this thing that made a weird noise. I was like, look, it looks cool. People think I'm good at guitar if I do this. Long story short, we played this show live and people think it was the most amazing thing in the world, Will. I'm not good at what I'm doing. I'm just creative on how I do it.
Oh man, I used to take the guitar and I'd put it perpendicular from my body and I don't like a penis. Yeah, like a penis. Yeah, and I would thrust it at the audience. They love that shit.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter how good of a guitar player you are. You did that, and they remember.
Never heard of the guy. I'm not into gimmick bands, but we're not going to start. We're not going to start that.
Awesome. So the last game I've been playing is not on the PlayStation. It's not on the Stinky Switch, and it's definitely not on the Twat Box. It is Marvel Snap on iOS, guys.
What? You finally broke down?
I finally broke down and started playing it, and I got to say, it's a really dang good card game. So today, this is my day today, gentlemen. I got up this morning at 5:30. Got me and my son ready. Left the house. I see your skinny pop. We left the house by 6 o'clock and we were at the school. We had to drive from Columbia to not quite Charlotte, Carowin. So an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes or whatever in North Carolina. They had a band performance and they were getting graded with their judges and all that stuff. And then we were able to just spend the rest of the day in the theme park. So we literally left the house at 6 and we got back in town. All right, pulled up at the school at 8:22. I messaged you guys saying, hey, I might be a few minutes late. I got at my house at 8:50, set up the room for the call, went and made myself a parfait and sat down and did the podcast. You know what I'm saying? So it's just been like go, go, go. We walked the whole park, rode a ton of rides, been out in the sun all day. It's been a friggin' day. On the way there and on the way back, like the whole drive there, whole drive back, me and my son were like, playing Marvel Snap. Now I hear a lot of people in our Discord talk about Marvel Snap. And there's a whole little room for that. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of nerds in there playing with their little freaking card game. And I was like, you know what? We got in the vehicle, we got in the bus. I was like, son, we need to play a game together. And I didn't bring the Vita because I thought it would be frowned upon for a chaperone to be on the bus playing this PlayStation Vita and not paying attention to the kids he was in charge of. So I was like, let's download Marvel Snap. That's something that people around me have been playing. They said it's good. So we both downloaded it. And man, we're hooked. And we played for the whole hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes there. Plus we had to sit there for 30 minutes or so until everything got checked in. And then the whole ride back. Guys, this game was a bus? Blast. Yeah, we're on a big charter bus.
Did y'all go to Jack in the Box?
No, we did not. We actually ate. I bought
if you're in Charlotte, man, you got to eat Jack in the Box. You get the 2 tacos for 99 cents. They're the best damn tacos ever.
Couldn't leave. We had 4 charter buses and like 1 billion kids. So.
Do you not have or Jack in the Box in your state?
We do not.
Unfortunately, no.
Closest one is Charlotte, yeah.
There's one in Greenville, actually, isn't there?
I don't think so. Well, there might be. I think it's. I
actually called their home office numerous times and begged. I'm not BSing you one bit. I have called their home office numerous times and begged them to put one either in Lexington or in Columbia.
If you come down here.
I probably would, dude. You gotta understand, dude. We used to show up at Jack in the Box. This is in Humble, Texas, and we would show up right before they closed, and we would get all those tacos, they had put out for like 50 cents a piece, and sometimes less, like a quarter a piece. So sometimes we'd walk away with like 20 tacos for like $5, man. You're dirt poor, and you're like, you living in filth. That was the greatest thing ever, bro. I loved it. I mean, I'll never forget how good those tacos tasted.
I've never seen anybody get excited about Jack in the Box. Those tacos are fucking nasty, dude.
Yeah, they are.
Those tacos kept me alive when I was broken poor, man. I love those tacos.
So does ramen noodles, but
gosh, I'll eat a turd first.
So they take the hamburgers. They take the hamburgers that fall on the floor. They chop them up, and that's what they use for the meat and the filling. And they deep fry a shell, and it's too crunchy. I don't know, dude.
And then their hot sauce is good. I mean, I love Jack in the Box, man. I think everybody should eat their breakfast. They have the best hash browns. And look at that. I'm giving them free marketing on a podcast. Why can't you come to our freaking town and set up shop?
All right, well, each his own. I like the curly fries. I guess I got that going for them.
The sourdough Jack is the only thing good on their menu.
Nah, I think I always just ate their burgers. Speaking of, I had a mean burger at the theme park. We did the premium meal pass where you can go every 90 minutes and eat something. And I was like, "Are you challenging me?" Challenge accepted. So every time it was eat 30, we went and stopped somewhere and we ate. And we had a good day. It was a lot of fun. We had a real blast today. So I don't care what anybody says. You can go to a theme park with a bunch of band nerds and make a good time out of it, because we sure did. So
I did that actually when I was in high school. Actually, it was 8th grade. My 8th grade year, right before I got into high school, we went and did that little competition at Carowinds, right? That's what it was. It was like a band competition. Yep. Now that was a good time because it was like just hot enough to where the water rides had just opened back up.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, and they got superior, so they scored the highest marks they can make.
One time at band camp.
I knew it. Oh my gosh. What's crazy is some kids were saying some nasty stuff on the bus, and I'm just like trying to shield my son from it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're killing me. You guys got to stop.
You should have got up and chaperoned the shit out of that situation.
Dude, one kid dropped the F-bomb. I shouted him down, and everybody looked at me, and I was like, dude, not here, brother. I was like, it's about to be your end of days there, son. I did get
F-bombs. Those fucking F-bombs fucking count. I can't believe you're fucking using a fucking F-bomb on the fucking bus. What the fuck's wrong with you?
No, that's basically.
Well, Thomas is going to have to make another public apology this week.
He said, man, I said the F word like way too much.
You started off rather heavy in the last episode, didn't you?
He said, and then he writes into me, I'm riding down the road screaming at my speakers right now because I said so many F words.
What? You can't say fuck in school? Fuck.
Oh, God. Here we go. All right, check it out, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the extra stuff in post, okay? We're going to jump straight into the topic this week. I want to go ahead and make sure we're respectful of our guests' time and Will's time, especially. And we want to make sure we get through all of this and we can deem who the winner of the PlayStation predictions are. Now, earlier, Thomas said he thought that we all kind of were about breakneck on the even space. So what I have in front of me right now is a document. And what I'm going to do is around every prediction that may or may not have come true, we're all going to go around the table. We're going to deem whether or not this prediction counts as a full point, or if we have to break it down into half points. I have the list of everything that came out from the showcase. Now, we're not going to go down the line of what came out. We're going to go down the line of predictions so we can score it, see who the winner was, see who is going to get something, a nice prize from the Loot Bros, and see who's going to have to do something humiliating because of the Loot Bros. Okay, but first, I want to go around the table and let's just get your general impressions. Okay, start with you, Will. What did you think of the PlayStation Showcase?
There's a couple of hippie games on there I didn't like. Can't stand a hippie. There's also a few couple games that look like, this is a Switch game, and and like it was a lot of indie titles I saw. And,
decent amount, yeah.
Yeah, when I was making my picks, I was going for the low hanging fruit, and a lot of these games I never even heard of. But out of 10, I'd give the thing I'd give the show a 7, and that's me being generous because I'm a fanboy. I'm a Sony PlayStation fanboy. So
Sony pony.
Yeah, Sony pony. I don't like that. I'm not a pony.
Well, that's unfortunate.
That's a good place to be. You know what? You're going to hear from the bitter, angry, resentful Xbox fans. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They are miserable because they have just been neglected. They're not treated as first-class citizens. I mean, honestly, they suffer from Stockholm syndrome because they keep running back to their abuser, thinking that something's going to be different. So you know what? Being a Sony pony isn't the worst thing out there.
There are worse things that you could be.
There are worse things out there.
An Xbox turtle. Yeah, fuck you.
Turtle.
Yeah, box turtle.
Speaking of turtles, Zach, what are your overall impressions?
I'm about to go back into my fucking shell. That's what's happening right now. I don't know. It wasn't bad. There was a lot of good. There was a lot of good, but there was also a lot of like questionable things. There were some pretty good indie games that looked really, really good. I really appreciate the indie market, and Sony's always been real nice with the indie games. So, looking forward to a couple of good titles pooping out. And let's see, we'll get into the handheld later, but I'd give it a solid 6 out of 10.
I've been giving my wife a 6 for a lot of years.
It ain't a 6 no more, Pappy.
I mean, if you take it and you multiply it by 2.
Do your balls hang low? Do they wobble in the bowl?
T Diddy, what do you give the old PlayStation Showcase?
I give it a 5, and here's the reason why. Because Sony is so conceited, and their fan base is such a cult that they can't and they won't give you everything that you need. And I'm going to tell you why they won't give you everything that you need. It's
Trophy.
T Diddy, you muted yourself.
I did that on purpose because I was coughing.
I thought you were leaving us hanging. I'm going to tell you why.
No. The reason why they won't give you what you want is because Phil Spector, a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about this on the show.
Say his name right. You never say anything right on this show, and it hurts my soul so much.
Phil Spector is correct.
All right, so this clown basically laid down on the road and left himself wide open with Vaseline covering his anal rectum. And basically Sony said, you know what? We don't have to give our cult or our fans what they want. We'll just give them a little taste. So everything that we had planned, no, we're not going to do that now. We're just going to give you a couple indie games. We're going to give you a little nostalgia and make you feel good about yourself. And then we're just going to basically just give you Spider-Man, because you already knew that was going to come probably September/August anyway. Everybody knows that bull crap. So long story short, you gave people a little nostalgia. You didn't really give up the goat at all. There was no goat given up there because you didn't have to. Now, if Xbox has a good show in the next couple of weeks, then maybe they'll show something else. Till then, they're not showing anything. And it's smart and that they didn't blow their whole load all at once. They just basically stuck the tip in and said, here you go.
Well, you don't like being teased, do you, man?
No, he said, give me it all or give me nothing. So I actually agree with that. I actually agree with almost everything you guys have said here so far about it. So I seem to be on the higher side of this particular showcase. Now, there's something that I think it was Aaron Greenberg said years ago, that when you put the shows together, you need at least three things for everybody, right? So I know going into these shows, there's going to be crap on there that ain't for me. All right. Anytime this freaking anime trash pops up on, I was like, here we go. Like Grand Blue Fantasy. Come on, man. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Get him, Will.
He's screaming in the speakers. I'm just kidding. I was really excited to see that was coming back, and that was actually finally. I did that for you, but no, I thought it was really good. Do I think it was a 8 out of 10? Yeah, maybe. I'm thinking somewhere between a 7 and an 8. It spoke to me and my interest in games that I want. You know, they had survival horror for Resident Darrell. They had the new handheld for Resident Darrell. They had FNAF for my kids. My kids freaking popped. Like, they audibly screamed and shot out of their seats whenever that new FNAF game was popped. My kids were like, there's not even been rumors about this. Like, they were just like all about it. So it was pretty cool. The fact there was Resident Evil VR stuff on there. Granted, I can't do VR because I'm a freaking wimp. Like, it was cool. So there was more than 3 things there for me. And whenever you look at like the way that they build these presentations, and then what I got, it was more than I expected. Albeit I wanted them to give me the whole thing, not just the tip.
Darrell,
and I know they wouldn't.
Now, Kalai should have been on this episode because she's a big Nintendo fan, and the fact is that they are stealing a Nintendo game without stealing a Nintendo game.
1,000%. Oh, 100%.
And with their version of Splatoon.
Yeah, foam squad or whatever. Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you though? I mean, to me, that makes perfect sense because my kids are never going to play Splatoon, right? They don't even like their Switches. Everyone in this house has their own Switch. No one wants to play them. But like,
I like my Switch.
You put that on PlayStation, these boys will play. They saw it and they said, "Man, that looks cool." Oh. I'm like, I try to get you guys to play Splatoon, you wouldn't do it. They're like, "Yeah, it's on the Switch though." So again, I watched this showcase with my 2 boys, and there were times they popped for things that I had no interest in. And I was like, this is cool because I get to see what's interesting to them, you know, the general just PlayStation player, you know. So that being said, I really enjoyed it, but I knew they weren't going to give us the whole thing because here's why. Exactly what T-Bone said. Phil Spencer asked to be fired twice in that last interview. Okay. He said, good games don't sell consoles. He said, we'll never be out of 3rd place. And he said on two separate occasions, he should be fired and he makes too much money for what he does. He also said, he confirmed everything I've been saying on this show for years. They're not paying attention to their portfolio. They're just letting them do their thing. Okay. So all that being said, like, if I was worldwide franchise Jimmy Ryan, I'd be like, you have 2 options. You can go for the jugular and kill them just while they're down, or you can just sprinkle a little bit of everything and save it for Summer Games Fest and then the Game Awards this year. We have 2 more big events coming out this year that they're going to show brand new games at. So did they need to blow their whole load? Absolutely not. They could have showed 0 games and it wouldn't have changed a thing. Xbox can come out here on June 11th and they can show 30 more games all coming from the first party. But their showcase last year showed they're not going to deliver the goods. They didn't make good on what they said last year. And Phil Spencer said that. He was like, yeah, we didn't make good on our promise last year at our showcase. And he said, you shouldn't even believe us on the next showcase until you have the games in your hands. Those are things that I've been saying on this show for literal years. And I get all this pushback and all this, oh no, you're a Sony pony. And then the man himself says it. And y'all always say, in Phil we trust. But you really need to be saying, in Resident Darrell you trust.
The Reverend is preaching.
That's right. So anyways, all I'm saying is my boy Phil came out there and he said he laid down and was like, do with me what you will, Jimmy Ryan. And Jimmy said, you know what? I'm gonna have a little bit of mercy. He's Xerxes, right? Jimmy Ryan coming in on the chariot and he's like, you will find that I am kind.
And it comes back around to Zack Snyder.
See, you get it. So anyways, that being said, I thought it was a good showcase. I think it was a little lackluster because there are things that I really wanted to see that weren't there. There were things that I predicted that were there. So, and I am still on the fence about this Q Lite, albeit I will be the one to fall on the sword and buy it. I don't.
$100 or no buy.
There's no world. It'll be.
I mean, we're here now. All right, cool.
It's a minimum $200. I mean, it's a freaking DualSense with a screen in the center.
DualSense.
See that's the only thing that I'll give it. That's the only thing I'll give it is I like that it has all the features of a DualSense. I also like that it has a larger screen than my phone. But the fact that I don't like is it's literally a glorified phone.
Well, here's
without all the extra features.
There's two things, right? And if you haven't done either of those things, then this won't matter to you. Do you have a PS5?
No, but I've been looking at that.
Have you streamed from a PS5 to your phone before?
No.
Well, here's what happens. I do this pretty regular now because Kalai thought she was going to be cute and got on the show and talked a whole bunch of smack about how it doesn't work. So I'm like, well, you know what? If I'm going to defend the franchise worldwide, Jimmy Ryan, I'm going to have to make sure I'm an expert in the field. So I started streaming my games to it. I'm like, you know what? This works pretty freaking good, actually. So I've come on here week after week saying, here's the games I've been playing in the fashion I've been playing them. And it wasn't until I found one out of a half dozen now that I'm like, I finally found something I got a little bit of issue with. But the problem is this: I sit here at my desk while I'm working and my phone's blowing up constantly. And when someone calls you or you get a bunch of text messages when you're in the middle of a freaking video game and you're streaming it to your phone and you got to go out of the game, you got to come back in, that sucks. And I said to my wife, I said, you know what? I was like, if I had just a dedicated, like, where's our old iPhones? I'm to prove my point. Now, listeners, you can't see this, but the boys can see it.
He put the backbone in it.
I went and found one of our old iPhones, and I said, I'm going to use this as my dedicated remote play device for my Kishi. All right, so look right here at my desk, readily available. Kishi, iPhone. And I said, I'm going to set it up to where I just have this so that I can stream when I'm laying in the bed, when I'm in my office or whatever, and it does not interfere with my phone. And then Jimmy said, I hear you, son. I hear you. I know I'm not your real daddy, but I want to be. Here is the Q Lite. All the functions and features of a DualSense with an 8-inch screen, Resident Evil. You don't have to use that old iPhone anymore. You don't have to interfere with your phone anymore because you can stream and play your PlayStation 5 games straight to this handheld device.
Yeah, but how much are you paying for that?
I'll pay whatever it costs.
See?
I think the magic number, $250. If they can hit that price point, keep it under $300. But you still got to pay for the shit. So $250 would be the magic number.
Hey, check it out. I just sold Mario Kart sealed on eBay just now, so I got plenty of money. No, I don't know that it's going to be $250. Well, and here's the thing: the Vita, when it came out, was $250, and that was pre-Biden's economy. Like with inflation and the way things are right now, look on the market, right? Everyone is doing a streaming device. Logitech just came out with the Game Pass streaming device in quotations, right? And that was $300, you know?
Yeah, and it's failing fucking miserably.
But if you listen to the people who are using it on different podcasts I listen to, they say it's great. Like, sure, it's not selling. And I agree that like $300 for a dedicated streaming device that doesn't play things natively, so you can't go to down the road or whatever, like that does not seem ideal to me. So I don't want anyone to get it twisted. I'm not making a case for that. What I'm simply saying is, if I had a DualSense in my hand that has 8-inch screen in it and Jimmy Ryan's signature on the back, I would lay in bed at night and I'd play the freaking piss out of that thing.
And he'd also touch himself while doing it. But doing. So
I don't know. Again, if it's over $300, to me, it's dead in the water. I don't see a world in which it's less than $300 though. Like I feel like everything's so expensive right now. You just to come out with a bargain handheld like that. And if you look, we're getting $200 controllers coming out left and right. I mean, SCUF controllers, Elite controllers. What is the DualSense Edge is? What, 180, 200 or something like that? So
it's like two something, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm all for it though. I mean, and I'm going to buy it. This is one of those rare occasions where I'm going in like for sure. Like day one, I'll buy the Q Lite and I'll be the one to tell you guys whether or not, coming from your daily Vita user, this is the next thing handheld they've put out. I have to own it.
I'm not going to chase one, but if I get one for Christmas, I won't be mad.
There you go. There you go.
Hopefully my girlfriend's listening.
Hey, boys, my birthday's on June 3rd. You know, PS5 digitals are only $300. You know what I'm saying? Start a GoFundMe on the Loot Bros page. They're like $3, right? They're $8. The digital only?
No, they're $400.
Oh, even worse.
Or better. I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder there, buddy.
You could.
All right, so check it out. You know what, Zach? Here's the thing. You get on this show from time to time, and you make all these pitches on how you with PlayStation this, and I'm going to trophy that, and I'm going to PlayStation 5 this.
Hey,
but like,
how many trophies have I popped tonight?
If Jimmy Ryan himself, the franchise, Mr. Worldwide, came down and said, here, Zachary, here's a PlayStation, bro, you wouldn't play it.
Want to bet?
I don't have to bet. Your track record.
I'm playing it right now.
Show me your work. Pull the tape.
Pull the tape? All right, hold on a second.
Look at there. We're getting a little bit of static interference. All right, guys. So we're going to head over to our Google document. We're going to see how we stacked up. So, Will, I reached out to you and Zach before the showcase. And I said, boys, give me your predictions for the conference, and I will add them to the document. So this is all completely on the up and up. I didn't add these after the fact, and they didn't watch the showcase first. Okay. So Will, we're going to start with you, and we're going to see how you did. So you said earlier, you did mention you were going for the low hanging fruit. So you mentioned Mortal Kombat 1, and I said, that one's already been revealed. So we had to nix that one, put in a second one. You mentioned Death Stranding 2. Did we see Death Stranding 2?
We did not.
Wah, wah.
Thank God.
But
really? You don't think Death Stranding 2 is going to be cool?
No, the first one was a walking simulator.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. But
you say that like walking simulators are bad, though.
It's the cult of Hideo Kojima that is driving that game.
Facts.
Speaking of cult.
Yeah, hey, man. I mean, they exist. And I thought, granted, I haven't finished Death Stranding, but I thought what I played of it, that first 8 or so hours was pretty rad. And I mean, it's a lot of walking and balancing, but I thought that it has all the trappings of a Kojima game.
Yeah, I didn't like, what's his name? Broadus? I don't like his face either. So.
Okay. I mean, well, if you don't like their face, then you can't look at it. So, all right. Next up, Will, you said Silent Hill 2 would be there.
Nope, didn't show up.
Yeah, unfortunately, that didn't show up. All right. You said Twisted Metal would be there.
Nope, didn't show up either.
No, man. I tell you what,
we did get Gran Turismo movie. Yeah. So the half a point.
They're obviously really proud of that one. I think that they're really getting behind it. They released that trailer. That trailer has a very, very high like to dislike ratio.
Yeah, it's been well received.
And say what?
It's been well received.
Yeah, it seems like something pretty cool. And the fact they showed that in the showcase, man, they believe in it. So that's pretty cool. All right, so you said Spider-Man 2 would be there,
and yes, it was. That's the lowest of the hanging fruits.
Yeah, and now, what did you think about old Spider-Man 2?
I liked it. I got the impression that this is a quick time event game. It's just just following along. Do you guys remember Space Ace? Do you remember Dragon's Lair? It's basically they're playing a movie, and you gotta hit the buttons, you gotta hit the joystick in the right order in order for the movie to advance. If you fucked up, boom, you get a death scene. Cuts to a death scene. That's the impression I got. And that's from the water chase and whatever the heck was going on there. Big long quick time event, but it looked cool. I'll say that much. I thought it was cool. I don't know if you know the Spider-Man story and the symbiote saga and all the things going on there. Oh yeah, Peter Parker was indeed being a dick. He was he was living up to that pre-Venom. It was playing the part. It goes along with the story, and I enjoyed that. But I don't know. I gotta play it. I'm gonna hold out until I play it.
So this is a huge Spider-Man family. All right. So we have watched all the Spider-Man movies. We've watched all the Spider-Man animated shows together. We have boatloads of Spider-Man comics.
Did you watch Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends?
The old one?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice,
you ever do the Spider-Man in anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, we do that in the house all the time. It's like, what? And so Spider-Man's huge in this house. As a matter of fact, when the last Spider-Man game came out, the kids were out of school for the week because there was a hurricane, and they evacuated all the schools. So we sat every single evening until sometimes 2, 3 in the morning playing Spider-Man, and until we platinumed that game together as a family. My kids and I will grow old and die remembering how great of an experience that was. We bought the Spider-Man PS4. Like, Spider-Man's a big deal in this house. Absolutely love that game. Platinumed that version, the PS5 version, platinumed the Miles Morales version, both PS4 and PS5. When I had COVID, right, the first time I had COVID, my son sat at my desk and played Spider-Man Miles Morales on FaceTime with me while I was quarantined in one of the rooms playing Days Gone. And we just sat there for all day and in the evenings and everything. And he couldn't stand the fact that I was quarantined, and my wife was a nurse and she was frontline and all that stuff. So she was real serious about, hey, you stay away from everybody. And so we sat there on FaceTime all hours. If he was home, he was on FaceTime with me. And we played through, he played Miles Morales or whatever. So great memories of these Spider-Man games. I think they are top tier, just some of the best games to play. Like, they're so much fun. Stories are good. I really like the crime missions. I know that's like one of the things people say, oh, it's too many crimes popping up. Like, I think it's cool. You're swinging around, crime pops up. Let's go kick some dudes in the wieners for a little bit, throw them off buildings, and get back to swinging and having a good time. Those things are fun to me. I enjoy that game. So I was really glad to see it. I think that the way that the game ended, hinting that the symbiote would be there, seeing that one trailer last year showing Venom's face, and then seeing this game start off with the symbiote suit and bully Parker. I'm like, man, they are really going for it. I mean, they got the Lizard in there, they got Craven in there, Miles and Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and the fact that you can jump back and forth between the two of them, that's very interesting. I think it's very cool. So I'm super, super excited about this. So now, I also said that Spider-Man would be there. No, I did not actually. I didn't. That was low hanging fruit, and I said I wasn't going to pick that one. So that was it was Joe. Joe said. Now, Joe said it was going to be with multiplayer, so he's only getting a half point.
Do I get double points for nailing my long shot?
What was your long shot again? I'm not looking at it.
My long shot was Tenchu 2. And they named it Phantom Blade 0 in the showcase. So the 2 points right there.
It could have just been a typo. You know what I'm saying?
No, that Phantom Blade 0 looked badass. That one I was salivating for.
I really want that.
Some cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right. The last thing that, Will, you had on your list was The Last of Us Online.
I'm surprised I didn't get that one. I mean, that's a Sony first party.
Very surprised. You want to talk about low hanging fruit? This one has all but been announced, and they still held that one back. So they're going to do something with it. That was pretty interesting. So, Will, you in with a whopping 1 point.
But Phantom Blade 0.
I mean, real talk. Is there a way to correlate that to Tenchu? I mean, I'm willing to try.
Yeah, there's swords.
There's a will. There's a way. Sword. Boom. Sword. Double points.
Sword. There are Asian people in it.
Okay, that's mildly racist.
It's not mildly racist. It's not even slightly.
What if they identify as something besides Asian?
How dare you assume their gender? All right, check it out. Zach, you're next.
Let's get it, baby.
Zach, your first prediction was that God of War Ragnarok sequel will be announced. Unfortunately, that is not correct. That did not happen. I'm a little surprised. I thought there might be a little God of War left in the tank.
Yeah.
So that one. Next, you said new Bungie IP, and brother, you nailed it.
Ding, 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 ding. I was waiting on it. I knew it was going to come.
So I heard rumors that Marathon existed, but that one I did not expect to see there. So that was pretty cool.
So I had a feeling because the whole reason Bungie stepped away from Xbox and Microsoft is because they wanted to do their own thing. Well, that was Bungie's first IP. That was the first thing that they ever developed. So now that they moved over and they're with Sony, and they're like, hey, Sony's like, hey, we want you to do something cool. And they're like, oh, well. So here we go.
There you go. Nice. Very nice. Good job on the point. So your next prediction was a Ratchet and Clank game would be announced. That did not happen either. And that is unfortunate because I know Insomniac's up to bat with Spider-Man, and then they're going to follow up with Wolverine. But I was kind of thinking, break them up with a Ratchet and Clank myself. They've got 2 different locations. They have that North Carolina studio. I was like, man, they're going to do something a little different. They did not. Next up, you said that there was a new PS5 model. And even though they had the opportunity because they were showing hardware, they pulled back and they said, nope, sticking with the one model. So unfortunately, that did not happen either. Now, this one right here, you're getting some points because you said new classics added to PlayStation Premium. Now, they didn't say specifically that this would be a premium thing, but I want to run it by you guys to see what you think. They announced that the first 3 Metal Gear games would be brought to the PlayStation because they announced that new Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Now, do we know if these are going to the premium as like old games with trophy support, or are we thinking they're going to be in the vein of the Final Fantasy collection?
I'm sorry, T. Diddy, but there was no direct attachment to premium there. So
no, that would have been my points. Yeah.
So is that okay? So we're saying no. There's no way to tell on that one.
Konami needs that money, man. They wasted too much money on Palicos and gyms. Remember, that's the reason why they allegedly let Hideo Kojima go, because he spent all this extra money when they were trying to buy more gyms and Palico machines for some reason.
You mean Pachinko?
Yeah, Pachinko.
Yeah. The great Malenko of the Pachinko machine.
Is that a wrestler? I don't know.
Yeah, Malenko, the man of 1,000 hoes.
No, the great Malenko was a juggalo. That's ICP, boys. Get together. Come on. I thought you guys knew what's going on here. All right, so we're saying no. I think that one might come back. We might have to revisit that one day. If those come, the thing is these games are coming. They are new classics, but we don't know in which way they're going to be brought, and they're not coming until like August, I think it said. So, although I don't think we can give you the points now, this might be something where retroactively you get points later.
Put that on the whiteboard.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty freaking close. Whenever I saw that pop up, not only did I audibly pop, and so we were doing live reacts during the showcase. So myself, Gareth, and Rick were all in like our little messenger group, and we're commenting on everything coming out. And dude, when I popped, I looked down at my phone, and Rick was like, "F yeah, oh my god!" He's like, "Man, I'm playing nothing but Metal Gear until who even knows Spider-Man comes out." So he and I are both very excited to play the first Metal Gear game with trophies, man. I am, oh gosh, if they had trophy support to that, I will freaking wet the bed. All right, Zach, your wild pie in the sky, prediction of dreams was a new handheld announcement. That is, in fact, 1 point because they did announce a handheld.
But if you and Tricky Mick had already announced that beforehand, wouldn't that disqualify him if y'all have already made that prediction?
Well, I didn't know that they made that prediction.
He wasn't on the show. And only that, but like we agreed not to nix each other's predictions. Because I did suggest that, but I think it was Joe that shot it down. So, but yeah, Zach wasn't there, so he had the opportunity to write his in. I don't even think. I mean, the show's out now, so he could have heard it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
Nope.
But beforehand night you didn't. So Will, you are in last place with 1 point. Zach, you are in second to last place with 2 points. So next up, let's go with T Diddy.
We're first and second, all right?
You like how I did that, right? T Diddy, you said Final Fantasy 16 would get 1 to 2 minutes, and it sure did. I think it might even got a few more minutes than that. So that looks really, really good.
The gameplay for it is kind of a DMC almost, which was pretty cool.
Dude, yes, it was very Devil May Cry. So that was pretty good. Next up, you said KOTOR is shown again. And unfortunately, that did not happen. Rumor is that one's getting canned.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. You said that a new FromSoft game would be shown, and it would come out February of next year. That did not happen either. All right. You said that a Sucker Punch game would be revisited by Blue Point Studios. Not only did we not get anything from Sucker Punch, but we also did not get anything from Blue Point, which is mind-blowing. Now, I want to put this out there. It's not quite apples to apples, but to me, it is very, very similar. Xbox bought Compulsion Games and a couple others back in like 2017, 2018, and we have no idea what those studios are working on, right? Granted, it was like 2020 whenever PlayStation bought Blue Point, and they already put out the Demon Souls remaster, but we don't know what else they're working on. And in my head, I'm like, all right, guys, you've been quiet long enough. It's time to show us what you're doing on both sides. Granted, one's a little more egregious than the other, but they're two different caliber studios anyways. I am very curious to see what Blue Point is doing. Next up, you said that Guerrilla multiplayer will be shown for this Horizon multiplayer game. And upon announcing that, they would say, by the way, the Killzone collection is available. None of those happened, unfortunately. And your wild, pie in the sky prediction was that Uncharted Golden Abyss remake would be announced, and that did not happen either. Unfortunately, T. Diddy, you are tied for last place with 1 point.
Misery loves company.
So, Zach, you're in first place, man. It must be lonely up there. All right, next up, we're going to read out Tricky Mick. Now, Tricky Mick was trying to be here tonight, but unfortunately, he had to work, and where he's working, he could not access the internet tonight. So he tried to be here, but his first prediction was that Sony Ben is going to show their new game, and it's going to be Days Gone 2. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and I could go for a little more Deacon St. John on a motorbike. Next up, he said Factions would be shown, and it would be revealed that it's coming out in August. Neither of those happened. His third prediction was that an official announcement for the Q Lite would happen. That happened. And no real details, but it would play physical media. Now, technically, that's 3 parts, and we said we were only going to give 2, but unfortunately, the second half negates the first.
Because his last 2 points weren't true. They gave details.
Right. They did give some details. They didn't give a ton of details. We don't know if they're going to play. They're definitely not going to play physical media because it said it's a dedicated streaming device. We don't know if you're going to be able to play like PS4 games or small games downloaded onto it because they didn't announce any real detail on the hardware. The only thing we got was that games streamed from PS5 have to be downloaded on the PS5. So, unfortunately, you get a half a point. So, new announcement for the Q Lite. All right, next up, he said Bloodborne 2 would be announced. And man, I thought for a second there we were looking at Bloodborne 2. That was that Souls-like samurai game where the dude ran up the pillar and then ran sideways on the wall and would jump back and was fighting and kung fu and all that stuff. That was a pretty sweet game.
Phantom Blade Zero.
That's the one.
Tenchu.
Not Tenchu. So, unfortunately, that was not a prediction that happened. All right, next up, he said there's going to be a ground-up remake of Metal Gear Solid 1. So close, my friend. So close. Unfortunately, no. It was Metal Gear Solid 3.
Trophy!
And it is no longer called MGS3 Snake Eater. It's just called MGS Snake Eater with a random triangle on there. I did see a really funny meme, and Will, I'll try to send it to you because this would be great for meme time. Mm-hmm. Someone took a picture of the Metal Gear Solid logo with the triangle, and they asked the question underneath it: do I have to play triangle strategy first to understand what's going on in Metal Gear Solid Triangle? I thought that was pretty funny.
Send it to me.
I'll try to find it. It's in one of these groups I'm in. But his wild pie in the sky prediction was that a new PS5 out in November will be announced, and it would be a baseline console with a detachable hard drive. Now, the rumors are Sony has a new SKU coming out. Instead of having the digital-only SKU and the physical SKU, they're going to have a new SKU that doesn't have a disk drive, but it has 2 USB-C ports, and they're just going to sell a detachable disk drive so that you could put it on your old console, put it on your current console, whichever. That wasn't shown. So no new Sony hardware. So unfortunately, Tricky Mick is left with a half point, deeming him the new last place
thank God.
winner. So no pranks for you there. All right, let's see. No Show Joe, he got Spider-Man, and I don't have a note on what his second prediction was. Oh no, it was out in August. It was the second half. I already put on there. It was a half point. So Joe got a half point for Spider-Man. It is not out in August. It is October, I believe. Right? Was that what it said?
I don't think they mentioned, did they?
I don't remember. It didn't say. It's definitely not August. So his second prediction was that Factions would be revealed and it would be coming out in October. So another one for Factions and another one bites the dust. He says PlayStation announces a new game on PC. Now, they said they had multiple times where games were going to release on PS5 and on PC. So in my opinion, he gets a point. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was really broad, though.
It was a very broad, safe answer.
Wow, I got close with the classics, and we're going to give them a point on the broadest answer ever.
Yeah, but yours was very specific to how the classics were going to exist.
Gryffindor.
So, granted, they didn't announce anything specifically for PC. There were logos saying that these are going to come out on PlayStation 5 and PC. So, what are you feeling? I know. So, T. Diddy says that's worth half a point.
Yes.
Yeah, me as well.
All right, Will votes half a point. Zach, where do you stand?
Well, I'll give his punk ass half a point.
Half a point. All right. Well, so we got 3 for a half point, and then I'm the one saying full point. So this is a democracy. Joe, you only get half a point. Thank you for playing. So that brings him up to a full point, though. So he's ahead of Tricky Mick. All right. His fourth prediction was Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake and all Metal Gear Solid games on premium. Now, he gets half a point because the Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake exists. But the other Metal Gear games, we don't know if they're going to premium or not. They didn't say that. So Joe gets a half a point, but just like Zach, if these things get announced for premium, you guys retroactively get your half a point back, and we'll add that to the next showcase. You guys could randomly have some like bonus points show up on the next showcase we do this for, just because, we just don't know yet. All right, and his fifth prediction was the show will close with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and a release date landing in Q1 of 2024. Great prediction. Unfortunately, did not come true. His Wild Pie in the Sky remake, probably one of the best Pie in the Sky. That's a remake. Jeez, listen to me. His Wild Pie in the Sky prediction, which is probably one of the best predictions thrown out there, was that a Parasite Eve remake would happen, and that did not happen. All right, next up is yours truly, Resident Darrell. I said that a MGS3 remake would be announced, and it would be with Hideo Kojima. Unfortunately, Kojima was nowhere to be found on this particular show, so that was a half a point for me. By the way, Joe got a total of 1.5 points. Got a half point for Spider-Man, half point for the PlayStation on PC, half point for MGS remake on being announced. So I'm back to me. So my second prediction was that a Silent Hill 2 remake would be announced. It's already announced, but it would have a date for October. That didn't happen. They didn't show Silent Hill 2 at all.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I said there'd be a brand new IP from Sony Bend. That also did not happen. I said there would be a Bloodborne remaster or a PC port. That also did not happen. I said a Capcom update on previously announced title. Then Dino Crisis Remake splash screen. Neither of those happened.
Technically, with was it Dragon's Dogma?
Dragon's
it
Dogma.
kind of happened.
Well, but they hadn't previously announced it. So Dragon's Dogma 2 was leaked in that NVIDIA leak, right? A year or two ago. But there has been no official Dragon's Dogma 2 announcement. And so Capcom, if you want to talk about somebody who's just locked and ready to go, they just dropped Resident Evil 4 Remake. They just finished up the Resident Evil Village VR mode and the DLC, Shadow of Rose. Then they said, hey, we're knocking out the Resident Evil 4 Remake VR mode, okay? They've just put out DLC and all kinds of stuff from Monster Hunter Rise, that Sunbreak and all that stuff. They announced Pragmata.
What's the matter
and
with
then
you?
they're like, oh, by the way.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah, see, there you go, racist. And then now they come out after, they're like, by the way, we got Street Fighter 6 going. And then, oh, by the way, Dragon's Dogma 2. Like, Capcom is firing on all cylinders. Capcom's always been my favorite developer, but good God, man, they are just really just putting the pedal to the metal. So maybe in a strange turn of events, Capcom buys Xbox from Microsoft and they own them. How about that? How about that for a merger and acquisition, nerds? All right, so unfortunately, no, that one did not count for any kind of points. And then my wild pie in the sky was the Q Lite would be officially revealed, half a point, and you'd be able to download games natively. The only thing that was said about downloading games natively was to the PS5. And although I would love to argue and say I meant that, no, unfortunately, my intentions were that it would be downloaded natively to the Q Lite, not to the console. So half point for me. So that brings me to a grand total of 1 point. So it looks like our winner is Joe. No, I'm just kidding, Zach.
Hey, don't
Zach,
you
Zach, you won. Zach, you won.
See, for somebody that doesn't play PlayStation and stuff, I'm kind of hip on this, right?
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. So I do have one set of predictions from the community, an actual set of predictions. There was a couple of funny ones thrown out there. But Gareth wrote in, he said that there would be a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. That happened. All right, so 1 point for Gareth. There was a Ghost of Tsushima 2 announcement. That did not happen. He said either a Bloodborne remake or a Bloodborne 2 announcement. Neither of those happened. Or a new Sly Cooper game. That also did not happen. But hey, Gareth got a nice solid point for the MGS3 remake. And that puts him at 0.5 more than Tricky Mick. So you beat the host of a PlayStation podcast in your predictions. So how about that? Now, there were some other predictions written in, some silly ones. So what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll bring all that stuff up and I'll add that in post and we'll kind of talk about that. And on the next episode, we'll bring Tricky Mick back and we will give him his punishment and then we'll give Zach his reward. What do you guys say to that?
I love it. I like it. I love it. I want some
there you
more.
Go. Get it, Tim McGraw. Let's go.
Is it going to be Avita?
How amazing would that be?
What was the last count? 9 of them?
Nine, yeah. Hey, I got my third PS Vita TV coming my way.
Oh, nice.
You see, this is the funny part, though. Like I said, Darrell always said, he said, I got some wonky ones. If you're willing to fix it, I got it. I got you.
Dude, speaking of, I've my Slim that I've been using since the Slim came out. It's only happening in one game, but I'm starting to get just a tiny little bit of drift in my left stick. I think I've played it to death.
Do you have the know-how to open those things up, clean it up, and get it?
I could probably figure it out. I've never done it, and I've got two that need some work. Both of them were like, I've got the white Assassin's Creed Fat Vita. I've got two of them I bought off of a college, or traded a bunch of video games to a college student here right outside of USC. And the dude would just throw them in his bag and walk back and forth to class. These things look like they have been abused and beaten and mistreated their whole lives. They look terrible. They're so beat up. But I rescued them out of the kindness of my heart and put them in my collection of Vitas with the intention of cracking them open, changing out the thumbsticks and the modules, whatever, because they have some drift in them. And they're just in bad shape. I thought about doing a whole case swap with one of them, but I just haven't done it yet. So I just I collect them. I put them in nice, like, clean cases. I've got like really soft sleeves. I've got hard shell cases. I've got all kinds of great things. And then I have this bin, right? And it folds into itself, the top does. And it's just a line of Vitas and PSPs in cases. So every now and again, I just pull it, I just open it up, and I'm like, oh, wow, you are so pretty.
There's a light shine out on you. Like,
yeah, it's like, oh.
Marcellus Wallace's soul.
Check this out, right? Now, the listeners can't see it, but you guys can see it. This is a pristine, near mint Japanese import blue Vita.
No, there's actually a Vita I've had my eye on out here that the guy hasn't sold yet. It's the Red Soul Sacrifice one.
Oh, dude.
But he wants 300 for it. And I'm like, oh.
They're high right now, man. But yeah, this one right here, I got in a Facebook Marketplace deal. A trade deal, actually. I bought an Xbox One for $75 with a stack of games. And I mean, it was $40. I think it was $40, actually, not $75. It's $40. Traded a guy for this and 5 Vita games and 2 memory cards. But this thing is like, look, there's no wear or scratches anywhere on it. Like, this thing is beautiful. So I've had it put up in this nice little Vita sleeve. You can't really see it because it's so dark in here. This will be the one day when I retire the Vita I use daily. This will be my new daily Vita. So it even smells like a brand new Vita. So beautiful. All right. Guys, thank you so much for coming on here and talking shop with me. Thank you, Will. It is always a pleasure. I'm so glad we were able to cross paths. We've been able to show swap a little bit. Having you on is a blast. Definitely want to give you the opportunity to say some last words. Is there anything on the showcase else that you want to talk about, or is there anything you want to plug? I know you already got the chance to plug your podcast. So is there anything else you want to get off your chest before we go?
No, not really. Podcast doing well. We're coming up on episode 54. Next episode, we got Dan Gomez. He's one of the authenticators over at WADA. He's going to be coming over. We got Radical Reggie of the Metal Jesus Rocks crew coming on.
That's a big deal right there.
A couple shows. I think a couple shows soon after that. PlayStation, PS2 ain't dead. PS3 ain't dead. PS4 ain't dead. PS5 ain't dead. And PSP/PS Vita ain't dead. All on YouTube. Come join up. Make sure you answer the questions, or else I won't let you in. And that's pretty much that's all I got going on. But thanks.
You probably got about on all those groups on Facebook? You got about 100,000 people in those groups now?
We just passed 40K and PS2 ain't dead. We just passed 10K and PS3 ain't dead. After that, I think it's like 2,000 in PSP/Vita. I really don't mess around in that group too much, to be honest. And then
I do. Don't worry. I'm keeping it alive for you.
And then PS4, and then trailing PS5. But no, I'd say probably about maybe 60 or maybe 55K.
That's a lot of people, though.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's just come hang out, talk shit. It's good fun. It's just good, clean American fun. But
that's right. That's right.
Thanks for having me on and listening to my hot takes.
That's good stuff, man. I don't just say it because you're here. I love your podcast. I listen to it every week. I like the guests you have on. You bring on some maniacs, man. Just crazy people willing to do whatever it takes to get all of these video games. And I think it's fascinating. I think you and Bigsy have really good chemistry, and I like what you do. So definitely keep pumping it out, because at least I listen to it. That's all I really care about.
Darrell, the feeling is mutual. I dig your show, and even though I don't agree with everything your panel says sometimes,
it's me either. I keep them on just so I can make fun of them. I don't even like them.
It's entertaining. Tom, Zach, nice seeing you again. Nice meeting you for the first time, and
yeah, it was great. Well,
I'll be listening through the airwaves.
Heck yeah. T Diddy, man, good to have you on again. Why don't you tell everybody the show you've been doing? I just finished the Punisher special between yourself and Macho. And I got to say, I know Macho is going to listen to this, and I've reached out to him. I want him on again in June, trying to figure out. We've got a lot of big guests coming up. We got Patrick Hickey Jr. coming back on, talking Legacy Comics, talking WrestleQuest. He's the voice actor and doing all 5 billion voices in that game. We've got RTG. Is it RGT or RTG? I can never get it right. RTG85 coming back on the show. He hasn't been on the show in at least a year. So he's coming on. He actually just sold his collection.
Sold it to Phoenix.
To Phoenix, yeah. So that's going to be really cool to have him on to kind of talk shop and talk about that. And then we're going to have Jay coming back on from Nintendo Quest and that toy show he does. He's coming back on.
The Robin J toy show.
That's right. He's coming on, I think, in July. So I'm trying to squeeze Macho in between some of these really big guests because he has a passion and a knowledge for Punisher and comics. And you guys know that's some of my favorite stuff right there. So, T Diddy, I listened to that show. You guys, I was actually playing some basketball pinball, listening to you guys ramble on about the Punisher and comic books and stuff. And man, you guys had my little heart racing because I was like, oh, you're talking about all my favorite things here. And that was a really good show. So why don't you tell everybody kind of what you've been doing, what you got going on, where they can find
it on Spotify. We'll be on other places eventually once we get our count up. Right now, I'm trying to get the count up to at least 20 episodes before I post it anywhere other than Spotify. The name of the podcast is Hunter Houston's ESG, which is Entertainment, Sports, and Gaming. Most of the time, the best way to describe my podcast, because you love Seinfeld. You love Seinfeld.
Oh, yes.
It's a show about nothing. It really is.
Yes.
And so my whole job is that I just want to entertain people. I want people to feel relaxed. It's something that you can listen to with your family. There's no profanity. The only reason why I use profanity here because it is allowed. Yes, I get out here, so I don't have it on mine.
It's bullshit.
I was really happy to have Macho Man on. It was super awesome. I was also awesome to have Neil Romariel, the guy from he actually sponsored my show twice, which is his book is Site Alpha. You can actually find his work at neilromariel.com. There you go. I gave you a free plug. Basically his first book is about like forest rangers. The easiest way to explain it is forest rangers who take care of the supernatural in Arizona. And he's actually been out to Arizona to check all these things out. If you actually want more in depth, listen to our episode, Hunter Houston ESG, and it's easy to spot us because we actually have a cool ninja, and all our different picks are different. Like the last week's episode had a Punisher pick, which was really nice. Thank you, computer generated AI art. Like again, we're trying to do something different, and I'm sorry there's not much sports in the last couple episodes, just because I was trying to be nice to our guests and let our guests get out whatever they wanted to get out. And I was very humbled to, actually not just humbled, but I was very happy to speak to Macho Man about different things. And of course, I don't know how you gentlemen feel about Disney versus Universal has a theme park, but Macho Man currently resides in Florida, and he currently goes with Universal.
It's a better theme park, hands down.
But thank you so much. I also want to give a shout out again to the Driftcast with Kalai. She's doing great work. And also Tricky Mick and his people, what they're doing. They're doing great work as well, even though he's not here to defend himself, because he'd have probably argued for a full point if he was here, if not for 2 points, because that's who he is.
Would you stop encouraging him?
Hey, he's a good guy, man. I mean, he has a good dog, and plus he has a Zelda shield. Any man who's willing to display a Zelda shield is a strong man. I am not that strong. I just have a green screen in the back of me 24/7.
There you go. It's hiding all of his wiener statues. All right, Zach, why don't you round us out, man?
I appreciate it.
What you got for your chest?
I appreciate everybody else for listening. Sorry I wasn't here the past couple of weeks. It's been a rough couple of weeks. First, we found out my grandmother was sick, and then we went and visited her, and then she ended up unfortunately passing away this past Sunday evening. On the bright side, we're having another girl.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
My wallet already hurts. You should see my wife's closet. But yeah, everything's on the up and up. Today was my daughter's last day of school, so I appreciate everybody. Will, thank you. It was great talking to you. I enjoyed talking to you and Figsy both, so we'll have to have you both on here at some point together. And, not only that,
so you just have one girl, or now you're going to have two girls?
We're going to have
you
two.
could be like my friend. He actually had 4 girls, and then he tried again and finally got a boy on his 5th try.
Nope, not happening. Sorry, I'm done.
After this one's
born, snip, snip, clip, clip.
Oh man, that's no fun. Just you can't get pregnant in the back door. All right, guys. I'm going to hell for that one. All right. Check it out. Resident Darrell on YouTube. I'm posting videos each and every week. This past week, work was absolutely insane. Did a bunch of traveling as well. So I started messing around with shorts. Now, granted, shorts are not a good supplement for full-length videos, but I've got, I don't know, half a dozen or more videos in the can that I'm kind of cleaning up and working on, just trying to make sure that, not every video, like Will said earlier, for every one find that you have that's great, you have 10 that weren't so great. So sometimes I'll work up a whole video and I might spend 2 hours on it, then go, you know what, this just isn't very good. So I do appreciate all the kind words. We're getting closer to 400 subscribers on there, which I know is not a ton, but hey, it's growing and it's been a lot of fun to do it. And I just would appreciate it if you're listening to this, go give Resident Darrell just check it out. I'm not asking you to like or subscribe or do all those things, although you should, but I want you to watch it and then give me some feedback. I've had a ton of people writing into me and messaging me, comment on the video saying, hey, I really enjoy this. These are fun to watch. So as long as you guys are digging it, I'll keep doing it. Kids will be out of school soon, and we are going to get really aggressive this summer about hunting games, getting there early. I do most of my hunting after the majority of the sharks have already torn through the place and the flea markets and the bin stores and all that stuff. When my kids are out of school, we got 3 cameras and we're going to be ready to go. So my kids are going to be wearing cameras. We're going to be doing challenges. Like we've been coming up with ideas on what we're going to do to do stuff at the flea markets. It's going to be a lot of fun. So check it out. And also, if you haven't and you're interested, check out our Patreon. So you can get involved at the Patreon for just as little as $1. And I throw every single episode of the podcast on there. There is a public feed. So if you already listen to the show, and you're like, you know what, I'll try the Patreon thing out. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. You can at least catch the free show there. The main show there at all times. We've got all kinds of extra cool content on there. We've got great deep dive stuff on there. And I have been pledged to watch anime. And I watched a little bit of Attack on Titan. Man, I'm going to throw up. And so that I'm doing reviews for anime on there right now. We've got some other reviews. As a matter of fact, our good friend and co-host for the Driftcast, Matt G, was pledged to play I Am a Teenage Exocolonist.
Exochronologist.
Exogynecologist. And his review of that is coming up for next month's deep dive, as well as anime. So definitely going to have some interesting stuff on there for you guys. So we appreciate it. I appreciate you 3 gentlemen for coming on here talking shop. And the last thing we have to address before we get out of here, we have to say thank you, Mr. Franchise Worldwide, Jimmy Ryan.
Blue Bros Podcast. Gonna talk about video games and mow your grass. Blue Bros Podcast. We're going to slurp and talk about penises.
All right, guys, we're going to close it down with our leaderboards and our backlog beatdown results. Now, we will not be getting a trophy rarity audio update this week. Our good friend Gaz Davis, Gareth, he's actually out of town, so we want to wish him the best on vacation. Super jealous, man. I think it's really awesome what you guys are doing. And I want to give him a special shout out because my boy Gareth is on vacation, right? Like overseas, living it up in Greece. And the dude brought his Vita so he can make sure he puts points on the board to make sure our team stays successful in the GTTSC. So starting off with the backlog beatdown, I'm styling on your bro, 122 points. Red Beer Rick, 91. JT, 65. Gareth, 48. Myself and Diego tied for 43. We have Yield with 41. Duplex with 38. We've got Alex with 36. Sadik with 34. Sadik just put a whole bunch of points on the board. We have Trying Casually Games with 31. We have CJ with 29. We have MZ with 23. We have Departed with 22. Kalai with 21. Jared with 20. James the Nerd with 13. We had Dino Killer with 12. We have One Plat Zach with 8. We have Jim with 7. Noah the Builder with I just moved it. Noah the Builder with 4. Noah and I have actually been grinding through Minecraft Dungeons. So as of the time of recording this, we haven't beaten it, but I'm sure we will beat that game together by the next time we all meet. Sid with 3, Spider Pax with 3, and Haley Pickle with 2. So now we're going to head over to the True Achievements leaderboard. You guys did better. It's better. Sadik with 750 achievement points. Playing some Ravenoak. Is it Ravenlock? Good Lord. So there's a speck or something on my monitor. It looked like that L was an I. All right. So he's Ravenoak. That's the new name. F Ravenlock. He's playing Ravenoak. I'm styling on your bro with 280, playing some Halo Infinite. GDI Master Ace is back on the leaderboards with 110 achievement points, playing some Ghost Lore or Ghost. No, never mind. That wasn't going to work. Ravenoak is the only one that can do it. We have the Bearded Nerd in 4th place with 65 achievement points, playing some Slay the Spire. We have Harry, Garrett's son, with 60 points in 5th place. Playing some Fall Guys. So very nice, Xbots. You showed up. You at least had 5 of you play some games. It's a pretty sad state over there in Xbox land. In the PlayStation Masterpiece, the PlayStation Master Race, we have in 1st place Affectatious Daunt with 645 trophies. Very nice. 2nd place, yours truly, Resident Darrell, with 110 trophies. My last trophies were in basketball pinball. I don't think I have baseball pinball yet, but I will if it exists. These pinball games are a little difficult. They're fun. They're a little jank. And there's like a slight amount of skill that you need to be good at them, but definitely kind of plan through those. Haven't got a platinum in any of them yet, and I own like 7 tables. So what does that tell you? 3rd place, Gaz Davis 11, 82 trophies. His latest trophy was on Furman's on Vita. 4th place. Now these are both my GTTSC teammates. So 4th place we have Rebby Rick, 72 trophies. And his latest was the Platinum Trophy in Skyrim. So he's getting a plus 10 for those points in Skyrim. So I have not updated the backlog beatdown spreadsheet. But the True Trophies tables have already updated. So when you updated these, it automatically did it. So next week, your points will be on the backlog beatdown for those, Rick. 5th place, Mr. Matt, spelled backwards, 45 trophies. Playing some Final Fantasy Type 00 HD. So very nice, very nice. And just for context, ladies and gentlemen, we have 13, 14, 15, 16, here we go. 17 people on the leaderboard that pop some trophies. So there's a lot more people playing PlayStation than there are playing Xbox these days. If you just want to use the Loot Bros podcast leaderboards as a small sample size. I would imagine this is 1,000% accurate and representative of what's actually happening in the gaming landscape. So we hope that you guys enjoyed the show. Definitely appreciate you guys. So next week we'll have the crew back on. We'll be announcing our punishment, and we'll be giving something away to the community. Now, as of the time of recording, I said I was going to go back and I was going to look at the community write-ins, and there really weren't serious write-ins. The only person that had a serious write-in for the Loot Bros predictions was Gareth. So we're going to do something nice for Gareth. And I want to encourage you guys in the future, as these showcases come up, especially with the Xbox showcase coming up, get involved right into the show, because we're going to do something for you guys each and every time. And we'll roast you guys who had really crappy predictions. So don't you worry. That's coming. So next week, when everybody's back in here, that will be our punishment episode. So who knows? We might actually wait. We got some really big, really awesome guests coming up, so we might save the punishments to where they have to say and do really embarrassing things in front of them. Who knows? Thank you guys so much for checking out the podcast. Please go to Resident Darrell on YouTube. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, give it a check it out. Or, hey, if you don't like it, then don't do those things. But definitely appreciate all the support, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
ourselves to be who we're meant to be and reach out to people in need. Today is all we have, tomorrow's never promised, and we can't live in the past, gotta face all the things that haunt us. Circumstances, same old song and dances, play the cards you've been given, there are no second chances. Life wasted so much time, I am flawed by this design, my mistakes, they follow me, surrounding me like a raging sea. The great, I'll be the one that will face the flames. If I told you you mattered, would you listen then? That despite all your flaws, you're still a 10 out of 10. You'd say I'm lying, but you're worth your weight in gold. All these lies that you've been told, so many people for hurting your soul. Love how they say that you learn how to roll with the punches. Talk about scars, but like a bunches. Pain will take anything that it touches to make it feel equal to nothing. I'm trying to speak into your soul to let you know your worth, so you can keep your head up, you'd survive worse. Can't you see yourself how you're meant to be seen? Hurting people hurt people is such a vicious thing, and now I'll never let anyone bring me down. I will continue to fight the fight and always stand my ground. Right is right and wrong is wrong, there ain't no arguing that. Wasted time looking back, I was so blind to the facts. All the people that I passed, everything that I didn't do, so afraid of life looking up through my rear view. Life wasted so much time, I am flawed by this design, my mistakes, they follow me, surrounding me like a raging sea. Can I be a better me? The world telling me I have to be. Rather stand and go against the grain, I'll be the one that will face the flame. Ups and downs, smiles and frowns, they say what goes around comes back around. Comes back around. Would you bleed for what's right? Choices to be made to find your way back to the light that shines bright. Day turns to night. Pray to God to keep you safe. You do your best out in the world to try and stay strong in your faith. I believe that you were great. Anyone can have a bad day. Don't let it get you down when things ain't going your way. Things change with just a blink of an eye. 1 minute you're feeling low, the next minute you're flying high. Yeah, this life is a wild ride. I'd rather fail a million times versus never set my mind to anything and even try. I'm not living just to die, I'm living so I can thrive. There will never be a day when I